and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream?
To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
All right, GM, good morning. 11:30 a.m. on Friday, May 22nd. Welcome. We have a special episode today. We are doing a deep dive on DLMM and all the updates Meteora is pushing out. And we will be joined in a moment by Mir, who is on the core team with Meteor, who on a live stream yesterday dropped a lot of alpha with Soju in terms of updates that Meteor is pushing out. So excited for this one. We're going to cover a couple of new functionalities and features that they're doing. But overall, just really, really impressed with the Meteor team and the MET token showing a lot of promise here, a lot of potential at these current levels. So I am actually going to pull up the MET token and we'll start there because it is looking good. All right, here we go. Here's the MET token. And I'm going to get this going. Okay. Oop. All right. Okay, here's the MET token for context. So this definitely has had some airdrop selling and but has found kind of a really nice level here. A really nice floor around the 70 to 80 million FDV range. Let me double check. 70, 80 million circulating, sorry. This looks pretty good. I know Dom was in this rate down here, basically Pico bottom at 13 cents, and it ended up popping to 23 cents. So Pretty good. Now, there are some significant changes on the way. Now, if you didn't go watch the live stream that was yesterday, highly recommend that you go live it there, go watch it, watch their live. They have a number of updates coming. So first one I will share with you is actual referral staking. This has been something that we've actually been kind of waiting for, which is having the ability to earn on referrals. Yeah, I know. I saw the GSD situation this morning. I'll touch on that after the Meteor segment. A bit disappointed in that, and yeah, not great. But yeah, so this here basically rewards strong LP Army members with bonuses, earn higher fee shares when you refer others, and build real mentor-mentee growth. And so basically, there's rewards for both you as the referrer and the person as a referee. Both earn MET tokens for this. As well as there will be a buybacks of the MET token. So all the earnings are based in MET. And I believe a special bootstrap bonus. So there is a bonus actually in this kind of interim time. I think the next 3 months they will be juicing these rewards. So I thought this was a pretty bullish stream. It's really, here's the actual recording. I will retweet it out in the show notes, but yeah, this is pretty exciting. So there's a number of other functionalities that Meteor has brought out. And of course, we've discussed all week, they have doubled the percent of the fee that Meteor itself is taking, which is good to kind of drive growth into the ecosystem. So overall, pretty excited for this update. I know 11:30 is a little earlier than our normal start time, but our friends over in Singapore need to be able to not be up at midnight plus. So we're starting a little earlier today. So sorry if that caught everyone off guard a little bit, but it'll be a great stream. And more importantly, we're going to get a bunch of questions and context in today, and the recording and the clips are what you guys can go watch after if you're caught off by our usual time. So with that, I'm going to bring up Mir, and we're going to just crack right into this conversation because excited for this one. Mir, how you doing? Welcome to MCG.
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. This is your first appearance on the show. I think long time coming. We've had Soju on, we've had Zen on, but we've not had Mir on. So Mir, if you want to do a quick intro, that'd be great.
Yes. MCG I've always been a big fan of MCG, and every show, there's always a lot of alpha, especially trading alpha. And now you can probably see a lot of DLMM alpha as well. Hopefully more LPing alpha to come. But hopefully I'll be able to, put my weight in and give a bit of alpha in this call. But most of where I spend my time on in Meteor really is on growing this amazing group of retail market makers that we call the LP Army. There's a lot of retail LPs that really power the most volatile markets, the meme coins on Solana. And at the same time, these are also people who have, I think, kind of cracked the code in terms of every cycle in crypto, right? There's always something that you can do to utilize crypto tech to, number one, power the markets, but number two, also just make a bit of money on your own. Every cycle, there's like, there was mining, and then there was staking, and then, there was farming, liquidity farming, yield farming, and stuff like that. I strongly believe that LPing right now is that thing, is that alpha that people can find in this cycle. So I spend a lot of my time really just telling people that this is what LPing is. LPing and trading actually is a part of the same playbook, right? If you know how to buy, you know how to sell, you should know how to LP as well. It's all just different parts of how to deal with price action.
Yeah, and I'll say our journey as a show really started with the Launchpad ecosystem around your DBC product and featuring kind of the burgeoning new projects that were coming out of there. Some with amazing Web2 tech founders like Avi Patel of Kled, who came on our show as first time saying, hey, I launched a token, no clue kind of what's going on? This thing's going crazy to, this year he's raising at a $750 million valuation. So we're kind of seeing that
Incredible.
evolution of on-chain builder going to large scale venture. And that happened on Meteor, which was really cool. And so that's where our show started, is very much a trading focused show. Now, I will say, with the new terminal launch, I like liquidity providing always to me was very daunting, something I didn't understand. Or permanent loss, never understood it. The math behind an AMM always was confusing to me. Whereas, perpetuals, I get it, 10x leverage, 20% or 10% move. Like you can calculate in your mind kind of where the numbers go really easily. With the new DLM terminal, I really think you guys have figured out the secret sauce here, because you have a chart, you have the ability to place orders very visually, like spot versus bid ask versus curve. I love all these different order types, and I've actually even come up with some of my own, which is a half layer of spot strategy with a nice other half of bid ask. So you get your liquidity in range right at the current price, but you also kind of get this, at the extremities, most of the actions, you're not overly exposed. So I will say our show is very much transitioned. Our chat has also got into delimbing, which has been really cool to see, because I don't think people as traders think of delimbing as they're using Axiom, they're using FOMO, they're using trading terminals. So this is a new one. So maybe just I'll pause there. Your thoughts on kind of that trader mentality going to liquidity provider / trader mentality.
Yeah, trading has always been, I think, the majority of the majority activity on Solana, right? If you're on Solana, or if you're in crypto in general, typically you would be buying and selling assets. I would understand when, especially when Meteora is involved, right? The DLMM is what a lot of LPs use, and we have bins, we have different kind of strategies that you can use, bid ask, curve, and spot. And you've mentioned it as well, right? You can basically open various positions and add on top of whatever position you have. So if you have a curve position, and this is just for context, for anyone who's tuning in who isn't really who maybe this is your first time learning about the DLMM, right? There's different ways for you to put liquidity into different bins. And this is, I think, for Meteora, the thing is, the more customizable your strategy can be, that's added complexity as well. And so that's been kind of like a balancing act that we've been trying to manage as well. The more customizability we want to give to LPs, the more complex it becomes as well. So how do we continue to make the DLMM more powerful, but at the same time make it easy as well for people to manage the positions, the open positions as well? So we kind of like, our thesis for 2026 is really to make LPing as simple as trading. It's a fairly like big ask for us, right? But I think with the recent shipments that we've had, like for example, in the last few months, we've shipped ape in, zap out, rebalancing, all of these things that allow you to manage your positions with literally just a click. That's what has, from user feedback, has been super helpful for a lot of the retail users, a lot of the traders that is taking the first footing into LPing. So what I mean is, trading has always been like the majority activity, right? LPing actually is a very useful and also an additional part of the trading playbook. But with the kind of customizability that Meteora has, it is also more complex. So we add more features to make the DLMM more customizable, but at the same time we add steps like aping in, zapping out, stuff that you can basically manage your positions with just one click, or just simplifying the process while making it customizable as well for traders.
So I love the zap out feature. I didn't know that's a recent feature. So great one on there. It's nice just to know that you're in profit and close it, or if something's going out of your range, you can just kind of close it and walk away. So I started DLMing when was I? I was DLMing 2 months ago when the printer ecosystem at the beginning of April really started to take off is when I got into it. And my edge there was, hey, this is a new ecosystem. There is no one providing liquidity to these tokens, but Belief token, Rand 18 mil, a number of tokens like Fat Choi ran to like, I don't know, it was like 3-4 mil. And there was nobody in the liquidity pool. So I got in there and I started printing fees. Like, and then I took a break. I went back to trading. And as soon as I went back to trading, I started losing more. My win rate went way down. I came back to DLMing because I'm like, all right, I know Mir's coming on in a couple weeks. Like, I got to get back in. I know there's some new updates, limit orders, etc. I got to get. My win rate is now back to 94%. Look at that win rate.
That's incredible.
94%. And I will show this is not just one trade. I've been, I got eight trades. So I can tell you,
I see no red in this portfolio.
None. I have not lost on a trade yet.
This is just for context for those viewing, for the line chart that you're seeing. A recent addition to the portfolio was that if you're down, right, if you've lost a couple of positions, and your position is your portfolio, that line chart is going down, it will be red. And if you see this bar chart as well, if you've lost a couple of positions, you've lost a couple of trades, it will all be red. I see no red here. This is amazing.
None. And you know what I attribute this to is a change of mindset. And one of the things as traders, and Chill really helped teach me this, who's the 1/3 of MCG, is to trade on what we call discovery candles, right? So it's when a chart is really starting to candle. And actually, I'll show an example of this right here. And I would use it in the terminal, but for some reason, with StreamYard, my stream really lags.
Oh, really?
But
yeah.
No, I don't think it's on your end. I just have an old laptop and I need to upgrade. But here's an example of a trade that I took this morning, and I'll show you really quick on my portfolio how much I earned on it. So I made 0.8 SOL, and I was in it, again, like just this morning for a couple hours. Total fees earned 1.3 SOL, and wow. I saw this chart this morning, and it was just literally like going up like crazy. Now, the urge with traders is always to chase these candles, and that's why people have low win rates. But for a DLMer, I see this candle, I'm like, great. You know what? I can now set this as the top of my range, drag it all the way down to the bottom. And I chose a spot strategy here, which is a little more aggressive because I wanted liquidity in the range. But for most of the time here, I was profitable. And this actually started oscillating in this range and good volume in this range that meant that I was actually printing fees. And what's great about, again, DLMing is as this is trading in your range, for everyone who doesn't know, as it's trading up and down in your range, there's good volume, is your P&L of at the price relative to price comes down. And what I mean by that is my break even started up here, but as it traded down, my break even got lower and lower on the market cap scale here to the point where eventually, unless it's right at the bottom of your range, you've basically made money. So it's the most, and that's the title of the stream today, the most positive EV way to trade, bar none. So
absolutely. I think just for some context, right? What's happening here is that even though price is going down, swaps are taking place, people are buying, people are selling, and basically Josh is earning all of the fees. And that's why kind of the break even is going like lower and lower and lower. And this is like, okay, I think some iterations of this, I'm not too sure who started it, but I think the main person who coined this strategy is our very own Evo Panda, the lead of Meteor Indonesia, and one of the leads of Meteor Indonesia. And he coined this like the Evo Panda strategy, basically starting off slightly higher and basically opening a position in, depending on how volatile the pool is, sometimes a slightly higher base fee pool. And that, again, just for some context, on the DLMM, you can open pools of different base fees, which is basically the fees that are charged on the swaps. And based on how volatile how volatile price action is, if price is more volatile, you can open a higher base fee pool. Any trades that route through your pool, you will charge higher fees. and those kinds of strategies is what you can play around with to earn a bit more fees. And if volatility kind of dies down, you can kind of switch into a lower base fee pool. So that's essentially what Josh is showing here. Like different price points, even if you start high, what's happening is all of the trades that happen, the fees go like to you as a liquidity provider, and that's how, like in technical terms, the break-even price is slightly going down and down and down. Hopefully this makes a bit of sense. If anyone has any questions, like you can just ask in the chat. I see there's a lot of like expert LPs in the comments as well. We've got Alex in the chat, we've got Swanee, we've got Nico, Tix, Raza, we've got Seb as well. Like it's so incredible. And also, just an additional point, if anyone wants to learn anything about the basics of LPing, the LP Army the LP Army Discord server, super active, lots of experts there. So you can shoot any questions you have. A lot of people will be happy to answer them.
Totally. And I found the best way to learn is by putting a little bit of Sol in a wallet and trying it. And by that, you get information back of like kind of what's working, what strategies to follow. Obviously, you can tune into MCG. We've started to help teach these strategies. I had used just a spot strategy, as I mentioned, but you can then do like spot and, layer in a little bid ask, which means that more of your liquidity starts to get in as the price lowers. So again, you're not as exposed, kind of as it's going down, but you do get a layer of spot in there.
You have, you have incredible drawing skills. That's very accurate for a bid ask.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So this was like Sol only. Sometimes I do strategies where I'll actually buy a bit of the reference token. So I'll show another trade that I had, which is currently live actually. So I've been kind of the only and first person to talk about the World Cup meta on X, and all these World Cup tokens have actually really started to take off. Now, my liquidity on the side here is a little bit messy just because I've been, rolling in liquidity as I go. But again, this was another one where I did a spot bid ask strategy. And this one has also worked out quite well. And you can see my couple of the things I look at is right here this is the amount of APR that you're receiving at any given moment. And this is calculated based on the fees you had already earned. And Mir, yep. I have to ask about this feature because this is the best one, is the base token or the fees are paid in the base token. Can you explain this a little bit?
Yes, the quote token actually. So the quote token, usually a lot of LPs use Sol or USDC as the quote token. And yes, this was one of the most recent shipments, I think mid last week, that we've rolled out on the DLMM. So quote token fees has been one of the most requested features by all of the LP Army for the longest time ever, over a year actually. And the reason is this, right? Retail LPs use the DLMM and they customize all of their strategies on the DLMM. Typically, when you enter positions and you enter positions in all of these volatile assets, in all of these like memes/Sol or memes/USDC pools, when you earn fees in both assets. And here's the thing about powering all of these volatile markets. Sometimes price might change, price might be volatile. If your token, if the base token loses a lot of value before you can swap it into like Sol or USDC or whatever stable asset it is, you as an LP will lose out on those fees. So it has been a huge problem plaguing LPs, especially the ones that are very actively, for all of these metas as well, like powering the pools and opening positions for, say, all of these new ecosystem tokens, or like say if the new trend is the World Cup, all of these recent tokens. The previous situation is that you will earn fees in both assets. Right now on the DLMM, you will be able to claim fees in just the quote token. So if you've opened a position in the meme/Sol or the meme/USDC, all of your fees, instead of being paid to you in both assets, it will just be paid to you via Sol or USDC. And this is incredibly powerful for LPs because there's not going to be that risk of like losing value through fees. So code token fees, hugely requested by LPs, now available on the DLMM. So this has been quite a long-standing like piece of work that the team has been dealing with. So we're super happy that once it rolled out, like no major issues, everyone is enjoying it. So
it's
yeah,
been
very happy
super
about it.
helpful. I'm not gonna lie. I used the old version. It just felt always overly exposed. And then I also found what I would do is I would take the say a meme coin, I would earn those fees and I'd roll them back into the positions. But the problem with that is you add exposure. You're basically adding exposure when you probably should be, letting off exposure. For this trade, guys, I'll give some context. I entered this trade somewhere, I want to say in here, and then drew it out, nice wide range, and then where you really make money. And again, look at the prices at the bottom of my range, but I still have a positive P&L. And what really the
Wow.
magic is here is that it's traded in this range basically since yesterday afternoon. And the whole time, again, printing fees. So I really like it. Another thing that I wanted to ask about is is just the limit order. I have a version of my terminal here now, and this is available on edge.meteor.ag. And this is another feature that you guys rolled out. I have not placed a limit order trade yet, so I was hoping to kind of get a little more context with you, Mir. But so before it was just creating positions, but now you have two ways to do limit orders, single and price range. Can you just walk through how both these work?
Absolutely. So limit orders at a high level is kind of one of our ways to really build on top of the DLMM to make it now the edge for traders as well. So there's a lot of limit orders that you can find in other protocols as well. But what's special about the limit orders for Meteora is that Meteora's limit orders are all fully on chain. So what this means is the minute price reaches your target price. So and then let's go into a bit more detail. Let's take a look at single price, for example. Single price means that you set a limit order, basically, like how every other limit order works. You have one price. You set a limit order. You set a limit order there. Once price reaches that level, your order is going to be filled, right? But here's a special thing for the second feature, the price range, and this is something that only Meteor offers currently on Solana. You can now open a limit order across like a whole range of bins. So if I'm not wrong, we're trying to get the current limitation or the current max cap for the price range is 50 bins. So what this means is you can literally set a limit order to DCA in, let's say if you want to buy into a token, right? You can set like a 50 bin range and slowly when price reaches that level and it goes through that range, when your order gets filled across each bin, that's basically like so for limit orders. Okay, this is kind of it's kind of let me find a simpler way to explain it for like a trader. Basically, there's 50 bins on a price range. Price goes down to that level, it gets filled, and it doesn't swap back if price goes back up. So one of the main kind of issues with the DLMM is that
okay,
when
I understand it.
Yeah, when price moves across a range, right? Your tokens, your assets get swapped back and forth.
Yes.
And usually, if let's say you're trying to buy into a token, and then you're selling like you're allocating SOL or USDC, when price goes down to that level, your SOL gets swapped into that asset that you want.
Yeah.
But if price goes back up, that asset gets swapped back into SOL. So that becomes a bit of a problem for LPs, right? And so one of the solutions for limit orders is to kind of combine the power of limit orders and the power of the DLMM. Now combining into one, you can now basically make trades across a whole price range. Even when price moves back and forth, your assets don't get swapped back. And the special thing is that since it's built on top of the DLMM, you get fees as well. So you earn bonus fees for pretty much opening a limit order. So I think it's a bit biased from me, but it's an incredible implementation, I think, for the DLMM.
Got it. So just to confirm here, if I place a price limit order and it hits it, will it kind of put my liquidity in the range that I set once I'm setting up? Like I'm trying to figure out how I actually set this out. I got to go buy the bills token for this example specifically, I believe. But if I put it above, will it say, yeah, I can put two. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm trying to understand here. Okay, so it'll put it in a, let's say, is that a single bin? So this is more like a traditional limit order on a trading app then, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay, I see it. Now, can I stretch them out? No, okay, I can only have it in one. Okay, so I understand single price.
Yes, this is like a traditional limit order.
Okay, traditional limit order. So 2 SOL buy this amount of tokens, hits at this price. And it's just basically sitting in one bin. Whereas the price range, same concept. I'm doing a limit order, but I'm doing it spread over multiple bins, which is more kind of like a DCA. However, DCAs are hitting, which are time-based, so it doesn't matter what the price is. A DCA is just hitting. And what you used to have to do with this kind of strategy is you'd have to place limit orders at different price levels manually and then, add them all in. Whereas this, you can just kind of say, all right, I want 2 SOL. I want from here down to there, just spread, just drag it down and then boom. I can even add some shape to this. So I can decide, I want more of my limit order filled at the top of the range and then less of it filled at the bottom. Or if I use bid ask, I want less filled here, but as it comes right down into this part of the range, I want to meet the meat of my order there. So I get a better average entry price.
Absolutely. So if you take a look at just on top of the bin preview, the limit order range, you can then see the minimum price and the maximum price of where your order is going to be. So typically what I would do is I just set that range within like a certain where I would want to buy the token. And then I set the strategy. So it can either be a bid ask or spot, or it could be curve as well, if you like.
Yeah. Okay. So I got on limit orders. That's a great functionality. I actually really like this. Just to show some other functionality is liquidity distribution, guys, on the left here. This shows a visual where all the other liquidity is sitting. So you can see that the SOL is spread pretty, evenly, but you can see there's a big seller with, 1.5 or something bills, or actually a lot of selling kind of at this price level. So, 584, which is actually right here. So there's a lot of sells here. So this might be interesting to even come to these kind of tools, throw tickers in and kind of see where liquidity is sitting as well as a trader.
Absolutely. That's very interesting. One thing I wanted to add as well. So on the right side, on the right panel, right, once you've already set your limit order range, you've set your strategy as well. What you can do is if you scroll down just a bit, just before you create the order, you'll be able to see a summary. Basically, yes, that small little portion. So you're going to buy a certain amount of a certain token with your SOL or with your USDC. So hopefully that gives a bit more clarity into what your order is going to consist of.
Crypto Jones says, it would be better if we could transition to a limit order range in our positions so we don't need to create a separate position and have to withdraw.
Wow. I'm assuming he's saying create a limit order once you've already had like an existing position open. Very interesting, very technically demanding as well, I will think. But that's something I'll take a look at. Very interesting.
All right, I'm going to come back here to my existing position here. Again, this is at the bottom of my range. I'm still 1 SOL in profit. I mean, we're doing something here. We're doing something here. So just to clarify, this is meteor.ag-DLMM. To get to this limit order feature is edge.meteor.ag-DLMM. And guys, as soon as we have a referral code, go trade with the MC Drew referral code. It's not set up yet, but we will get that set up as soon as possible.
Hold on. Which feature were you saying is on Edge?
Is the limit order specifically.
Okay, so this is some alpha for everybody. Limit orders is actually live on the main app as well, so you can try it out on
Okay.
on meteor.ag.
Okay, is this okay? Thick, it's right there. I'm just noticing that. Okay, was that
Yes,
just
sir.
pushed?
This was a very recent push. Actually, it was live on. I've lost track of time already this week, but I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Very recent shipment.
Okay, awesome. I did notice things were kind of popping into. So I just want to ask maybe a couple other things here about the trading experience. It's live since a couple days ago. Okay, I'm just noticing it.
This is alpha for you as well.
Absolutely alpha. So one of the things that I also love is this kind of discovery. This is actually where I'm finding a lot of, ideas to trade, because basically it filters for active volume. So you can go here and click fees by 30 minutes, and then it shows you kind of things that are picking up in real time. So even just my normal trading, I would come here and look for tokens that are kind of trending 30 minutes. Can you maybe talk a little bit about this page of pool discovery, how people should think about this?
Yeah, I think one of the main requests from LPs, and just for context, Pool Discovery was launched at our kind of international conference last year at Madabi, and prior to that, like Pool Discovery was the answer for a lot of LPs' requests to make it easier to find more opportunities to LP. So I think one of the problem was not exactly the problems, but LPs had to go through different platforms to really find, number one, tokens that have interesting price action, and then they will go to another platform to look at if they were generating enough fees or not, and then they will come to Meteora and to basically open the position. What we want to do is make Meteora kind of like the one-stop shop where you can find the opportunities. You can then go to the pool page, open a position. Once you're opening the position, go to the portfolio page, see whether you're up and down, everything all in one app. And so for more context about the discovery page, we want to make it easier for LPs to find more opportunities, right? And we were basically asking LPs kind of, what were the filters that you typically look for when it comes to finding new pools to enter into? So a lot of this, has to do with TVL, with fees, with volume as well. So if you look at the filter, there's a filter button on the right side. Yeah, that's like the full kind of list of all of the filters that you can play around with. But obviously, like you can also sort it out based on your own preference of what you want to see. Some people look at token age, some people look at volume. This is where, if you look at the LP Army Discord server, people kind of have their own strategies of how they filter out for new opportunities to enter.
I do have some feedback here, because one of the edges that I've had is on new ecosystems. So whether it be like Printer, when that started up, and right now with like the World Cup kind of meta, it's these little team tokens or country tokens and player tokens. It would be nice to kind of be able to filter by like ecosystem. So if Printer is hot or bags is hot, I could just kind of like filter bags and see all the bags related liquidity pools. And same thing with printers. So I think that would be like a really nice feature, is to have more like ecosystem based filtering.
Very interesting. So you can see on the top left of the list, there's like top performers, there's trending, there's new tokens. I don't know how much I can say before I can get fired, but we may see a couple more
on MCG. There's a rule that if you start talking about it, you have to finish.
So I'm just gonna keep it short, and I'm just gonna say that right now you can see three categories, right? There may or may not be more in time to come. So just a bit of alpha for you guys, but it's in the works. It's in the works.
How is Meteor going to encourage more pool creation? The first bin payments are at the moment a big problem for me if I want to go low amounts in, since it makes me lose directly 5 to 20% if I LP with 1 to 4 SOL. Actually, I'm curious about this. I set up a small LP and I think I charged 0.2 SOL or something to do it.
Yes. So the the fee that's being charged is rent. So when you create a new bin array, or when you create a new pool, the fees that you pay is some of it is non-refundable. When it's already open, when the bin arrays are already created, those are refundable. So typically, what the question is saying is that usually for new tokens, for new pools, if you were the first to create that position, you would have to pay additional rent to open and create those accounts, right? And that SOL is not refundable. So that's kind of that's kind of one of the the technicalities that you need to deal with for the DLMM. And one of the solutions that we've had for this is kind of it's a fairly grassroots effort, but we call it the Bin Masters Initiative. So what it means is we shortlist a few expert LPs, right, who are focusing on different ecosystems or kind of following different trends. And usually, so what we would do is the team would fund them with a bit of SOL. And if there's a lot of requests, a lot of demand for certain pools or certain bin arrays to be opened, they would be the ones to kind of stay on top of that and use the SOL that's funded by the team to create these positions. So we ran a first experiment of the Bin Masters Initiative quite a while ago. Quite a lot of learnings in terms of how to manage risk and which tokens, kind of like setting a clear criteria on which tokens are way too risky to open a position on, or which ones will probably have a bit of sustainability on them. So this was announced in the recent community call as well. I have plans to resume the Bin Masters initiative, and this would help very much with creating new pools, creating new bin arrays as well. What we're doing right now is kind of like firming up the details on and firming up the criteria as well for which pools will be applicable for the Bin Masters initiative, and then hopefully that will be a good solution.
I think that's really important, especially for LPs who are kind of new. It's like there are predatory pump tokens out there, and you don't want to wipe out your DLMers by having like a bundled, highly bundled token or whatever, where that could unravel really quickly and cascade down through any liquidity range. So is that kind of what you guys use? Like, what kind of filters are you using to curate kind of the liquidity pools that we all see?
We will keep it very simple. Mostly filters that I think the filters you see in the Discover page as well. So pool/token related kind of filters. If it hits a certain level of volume, if it hits a certain level of fees, that's something that we would consider to. That's something that the Bin Masters would consider to open any new pools or new positions.
Yeah. So this also, I think the initial price, it took me a little while to figure out to click on this, just to note, to try and make.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I sat there. I'm like, why can't I create this, right? Because it was like this. But I remember the first time I came in to do this, it says estimated price, because I don't know what the initial price is, right? So having that, I guess, even pre-populated and have it like change price or something like that might be helpful. Add initial liquidity, guys, just like this. You can go in and add it, just like you're setting up a DLM. But you don't need to set initial liquidity to start a pool, right? You can just start it.
Initial liquidity on which side? The base token or the core token amount?
So I'm just
you have the option to you have the option to add liquidity. But I think you can, if I'm not wrong, you can just create the pool without adding any initial liquidity.
Okay, that was what my question was. Okay,
Gotcha.
And then this is some initial liquidity or whatever, so I can come in here, do one SOL, and what it'll do is go out and buy the in this case Ronaldo, and then put the other half of my SOL on the other side. Can set the ranges and all this stuff. So
how are you finding the new pool creation UI? Because previously we didn't have the kind of visualization of, let's say if you're putting on a 125 bin step pool, you're putting on a certain amount of liquidity, whether it's on one side or both sides. It's a bit hard for you to kind of visualize what the new position would be. And so shout out to the team, Dan and the engineers actually added that kind of short visualization what your pool or your position would look like if you've added a certain amount of liquidity.
Yeah, I will be honest. I've created 2 or 3 pools so far. I created one yesterday and I still find this a little bit confusing, especially when you're kind of in a hurry to make decisions quickly. You see a token pop up, you want to get it, a pool created, get your liquidity in there. I think having a button where it says like pre-populate, or as this user, um, uh,
Mm, yeah.
Satria Pamuji on YouTube, saying having like preset settings even. So all I have to do is drop my pump address in or whatever token address in, and then add the amount that I want, and then click create, right? Like 3 button clicks. So I think this is good, or even just have a button where it says, recommend settings to me, and I could say, well, do a low exposure, moderate exposure, or high exposure. And based on that, it then pre-chooses, this kind of stuff here. Right. So,
This is great. Yeah, it's great feedback. And I think the question is also asking about filters on the Discover page, which is also great feedback as well. So I think presets for the Discover page, kind of like being able to save your filters, that will be pretty useful. We'll look into that together with the team, and create UI like this create pool creation page as well. That's very good feedback. Being able to create positions create pools, much faster, especially when when you've seen an opportunity, you want to be the first to add your liquidity there. I think it's good to have presets for it. Good feedback. Good feedback.
Yep. Now, this is a one thing I also wondered if is possible is if for the pool creator having like a very small little trickle kickback for the lifetime of the pool. I think that would really incentivize people to like actively hunt and go out and create pools. I just want to maybe hear your
Oh,
thoughts on that.
that's also a very interesting feature. I think I would have to take a bit of a deeper look at that to see how the technical implementation that would be. But it's a very interesting concept, meaning that would incentivize LPs kind of to be the first to open a pool. Interesting feedback. Interesting feedback.
Yeah.
Not too sure what the technical demand of it will be,
Yeah.
but yes, it's a very interesting concept.
No, I just I thought about it yesterday too when I was creating, and I see Crypto Jones had a question on it. Yeah, too many ecosystems. Of course, Crypto Jones there is, but there are some core ones. Like when Believe was hot, that's a core one. When Printer was hot, again, those are not crazy amounts of tabs to have on there, but definitely nice to have. Cool. So I think that kind of covers the terminal. Is there anything else like that you think we should share here while we're on stream of the terminal itself? And then I want to get to some of the Meteor like ecosystem related questions.
We've taken a look at Discover. We've taken a look at the pool page. We've covered a bit of how to create pools as well. I think another interesting thing, yeah, maybe just to touch a bit on the portfolio. So this was also a fairly recent shipment. I'm not too sure if it was a couple of weeks ago or like a month ago. But this is kind of like the entire dashboard for you to check, to track your entire journey as an LP. So P&Ls was a recent shipment from the team, and I think now with the portfolio, there's a much you can now have a full comprehensive view of how much fees you claimed and how your progress has been within a certain time frame. So yeah, this is the liquidity card as well. Pretty awesome to be able to see what your progress was in different time frames, whether it's 1 day, 1 week. If I'm not wrong, we have a month as well, and like all time P&Ls. So
Yeah,
you can see how much realized P&L, unrealized P&L you have. Biggest win plus your win rate. If you want to flex on some noobs.
no, this is really helpful. One thing I would maybe even suggest here is to eliminate the Sol plus amount, and it just shows percentages, because sometimes you don't want to show, especially if you have a lot, you don't want to show them how much money you're making, but you might want to say, hey, I'm up 20%, right?
A certain percent. Yeah, I think that having that as an option whether you want to add the absolute amount or just the percentage amount. That's good feedback as well.
Yeah, just to kind of keep it, because I think that's definitely a blocker for people to share because they just don't want to share that. Love the win rate, of course. But yeah, so love the P&L cards. I like this portfolio page. I would like to share P&Ls based on at the trade level. I don't know if that's something you guys, I know when you close a trade, you get a P&L card at the top left. I've seen it pop down. But is there a way to,
Alex?
yeah, is there a way to share a P&L of a live trade?
Ah, gotcha. Usually, what of a live trade, MetLex will. So when you close the position, right, and then you see that pop up,
Yeah.
basically that's MetLex created by one of the LP Army leads, Alex, one of the dev leads. And what you can do is, I think, if I'm not wrong, for a live position, you can also take any transaction as well, whether it's the add liquidity transaction, copy it, paste it onto MetLex in itself. You will be able to see, if I'm not wrong, the P&L at that point of where your position is.
Okay. So if I go to this trade here, sorry, where can I see that?
So you have to go to, if I'm not wrong, it's metlex.io. It's a fairly separate page. It's
Okay.
a page built by a community member on Alex. Oh, he's on the chat as well. So it will show your impermanent loss. So it won't exactly show your P&L rate. So maybe maybe Alex needs to cook it soon. We'll see what we can do with adding P&Ls of live positions. I think that will be an interesting implementation as well.
Yeah, I mean, from a trader standpoint, social proof is everything. And and what made FOMO really popular is people would show their P&Ls, and then it would very simply kind of just show like when they entered, when they exited, their loss or gain. So yeah, I think there's like definitely super helpful for people kind of like wanting to flex.
Great feedback. That's great feedback.
Cool. Hey, and this was like not necessarily meant to be like a product like feedback stream or anything like that, but I think
it's very useful. It's very helpful.
These are all things that I've just like wondered from using the product. So happy to gather all that from our community. Let's talk about the Met kind of token and what you guys announced yesterday. So referral staking, you've talked about a $250,000, I believe, fund. Half of it used by the community, half of it used by Meteor to grow things. Let's just get into everything Meteor on more of the ecosystem level, because I think this is great. Why don't we start maybe with the community fund, get that out of the way. Can you talk a bit about what you announced yesterday?
Absolutely. So what we've built over the past year or so is an incredibly powerful tool to allow LPs, to make money. And I think now is a very good time. It's kind of the right time, and the position is in the product. I'm sorry, the product is in a good place for us to transition into kind of a phase of accelerated growth. And one of the major initiatives that we're going to be working on is referral staking. And referral staking is one of the initiatives we'll work on and continue to grow under the team-led fund. So to take a step back, what we've done is we want to kind of transition into this next phase of growth, right? We've built an incredibly powerful product, and now we want more LPs, more traders to use this product. So how do we get people? How do we really just deploy all of the resources that we can to really build a super strong foundation of growth? What we've done is we've pledged $500,000 purely focused on accelerated growth, increasing user acquisition and at the same time user retention as well. So the $500,000 is split into two different funds, right? One fund led by the team and one fund led by the community. The main focus of these two funds is to focus on the team-led fund. The team-led fund will be focused on user acquisition. So garnering net new attention, working with partner protocols, working potentially with MCG as well, working with creators, working with a lot of people to bring more eyeballs into the Meteor ecosystem and to tell them that, hey, we have an incredibly powerful product. Come and try it. Where the community comes in, and where pretty much the LP Army has excelled in over the past year is user retention. And so that's where the next $250,000 will play a very pivotal role in. All of those new eyeballs that come into the Meteor ecosystem, how do we get them to go from new user to good user to expert user to like super amazing user? That's where the LP Army Fund comes in. So lots of resources to be built, lots of kind of initiatives that we can build, both focused on user acquisition and also user retention, led by the team in the community as well.
Got it. And I believe when I was listening to your stream yesterday, you mentioned that people can DM essentially proposals in, and it's kind of a merit-based system where the best proposals will surface to the top and get funded. So where should people message those proposals if they have ideas?
If you have an idea or a proposal, let's say on the community side of things, the best people to reach out to is the 3 LP Army leads, Alex as well, Heavy Metal Cook, and also Mario. I should probably link their handles somewhere here on X or also on the Discord as well. But the easiest way is to go to the LP Army Discord, share a bit more about your proposal, or you can open a ticket as well. Like all of the leads and all of the moderators as well are pretty much like there 24/7. And this is where we want to focus on growth, and this is going to be a great opportunity for you if you have some great ideas.
So I want to talk about your growth. There's 2 things that stood out to me. One is the ability to really easily create pools for tokens that are really hot on Pump Fund and to kind of vamp into those fees. Now, I'm not sure if that was something you guys have always done, but I swear in my mind it wasn't. Is that a new thing where you were new this year in terms of you're able to create like pools really quick for like hot meme coins and other ecosystems? Is that true?
Creating pools really, is this a feature specific thing, or?
I don't know if it's something that maybe it's just the ease of what you did is create a really easy way to create Meteor pools. But what I started to notice, and maybe this was, I just didn't know before, but is that now like there would be, tokens on different ecosystems, and then you were able to kind of create a Meteor version of that pool as well, even though the token was launched on Bonk or Pump, for instance. And then I guess the actual, trading terminals are routing trades through whatever best execution is. And, you're kind of scooping up some of that volume. Is that something you guys were always doing, or is that more of a newer thing?
That's alpha for me as well. But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if this is one of the strategies for LPs in specific. No implementation on that, like from like on the UI. But okay. I think that might be like a fairly interesting strategy that I think LPs are doing. But yeah, that's alpha to me as well.
Okay, very cool. And then I want to talk about DBC real quick, because DBC is also the ability for these really novel launch pads to kind of pop up, and people come in to configure their own ideas around what a new token launches. Obviously, MCG, we've loved some of the launch pads. Soar, Believe when it was great, Printer again when it was great, and there's a few more out there. Can you talk a bit about DBC and what role it plays in the, I guess, revenue that's driven through Meteora?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of amazing builders in the ecosystem, right? And typically crypto is an amazing way for teams and for projects to raise funds. But I think this ICM method that we've introduced through the DBC is basically allowing you to use liquidity pools and to use the power of trading fees as well to fund your projects if that's one of your strategies, and kind of that's where DBC plays a part, where before your token migrates into say Dynamic AMM v2 or whichever other pools, the DBC allows you to customize fees at different price ranges. And I think that's the customizability that a lot of projects and a lot of founders are kind of looking for. And that's where, I mean, with the feedback of the founders as well, that's where, that's how we've built the DBC and positioned it for different ecosystems as well.
Yeah, and some notable launches. I mean, the Trump coin one drove crazy volume, and then Believe also drove crazy volume. But we do see those spikes in protocol revenues from those. I want to talk a bit about those fees because Meteor did double their fee take, so 90% of the fees go to LPs, and then 10% are directed. But it used to be 5%. Can you maybe just like address the thinking there? And I know Crypto Jones in our chat was kind of had some questions around that, but just want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, a lot of very interesting concepts for feedback. It's stuff that we will take a deeper look into in terms of technical implementation, but very cool concepts. But I think that the thinking behind the change in protocol fee is to help and to kind of support this new phase of accelerated growth, right? At 5%, we have enough to continue building, right? And with 5% protocol fees, we've shipped things like dynamic terminal, all the changes to the portfolio, pool discovery, ape in, zap out, rebalancing, all of these new features. With the protocol fee change to 10%, this is going to extremely accelerate the team's progress in terms of, number one, building much stronger features for LPs, and number two, kind of helping support this next phase of growth. Like I said earlier, kind of to accelerate user acquisition and also user retention, right? And kind of to really put our money where our mouth is, we've kind of front run the protocol fee increase, and we've pledged a set amount of money first to really kind of kickstart to really kickstart this growth. So 250K to the community, 250K to the team. And I mean, really, the thinking behind it is to really embark on this next phase of aggressive growth. And the main point is this: it's a protocol fee increase, but a part of the increase is going to be used for major initiatives, like, for example, referrals and staking, and also different initiatives to really generate more and bring in more trading activity and volume into Meteor, which is what LPs and traders want, right? So the main intention behind that really is to bring back that value and give us the firepower to bring more value back into the Meteor ecosystem and back into LPs. So that's a bit more context behind that change.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. You guys introduced staking, I believe, and I was trying to find a tweet here around this. Can you just talk about how staking works?
Yeah, staking. Okay, a lot of the key details will be put out, I think, in an article that will push out close to the end of Q2 once the program is ready. But the main thinking behind staking, right, and referrals as well, because it kind of comes together. We are now at a point where, obviously, as I've mentioned, the product is incredibly powerful, and we want more people to be using them. And one thing that we've noticed is that within the LP army, we have a lot of experts, we have a lot of LPs, and we have a lot of new users that are learning and LPing under their wing. So in a sense, the current situation is that we already have LPs that kind of have their own network of people who are LPing together with them. And so referral was kind of very deliberately designed to help or to incentivize expert LPs to help even more LPs or new users to grow and to improve as LPs. So that's kind of like the thinking behind referrals, and to really, as we've seen in this in the tweet, the bootstrapping bonus that we have here is really to enable a lot more people to start staking their MET, and this is going to be one of the first few retail-focused implementations of MET utility, right? So the more you stake, the more kind of like your earning cap will be based on how big your referral network is and how much fees have been generated by your own referral network. So very deliberate design to incentivize people increase usage, but at the same time, kind of this potentially will be one of the ways where expert LPs can earn from LPing, but they can also earn like additional income from their referral networks generating fees as well.
So just so I understand correctly, if you're a MET holder, you stake your MET, right? And then you earn 10% of all DLM revenue from the entire DLM network, or just the referrals that you send to the network?
So when you stake MET, you will be able to earn from the fees of your referral network. But
Okay.
and this growth experiment, or kind of this bootstrapping bonus to enable and incentivize more people to stake their MET, 10% of all of the DLMM revenue is going to every staker.
Got it. Okay. And
So
so the
it's gonna
referral
be-
revenue will be on top of that then.
Absolutely.
Okay. And is that revenue paid out in SOL, or is it paid out in more MET?
We'll iron out kind of the mechanism of the payouts and put like kind of lay everything out in an article once it is ready. We are looking to push this out by the end of Q2. So bear with us, give us a bit more time to kind of firm up the details, and we'll lay everything out in clear detail.
Okay, cool. I mean, we're coming up on an hour here. I know it's midnight your time. I really, really appreciate everything you've done here. And of course, we have a pretty excited a group. Can you maybe just, summarize kind of, and we saw the Q1 report came out, but like, just like key highlights from the Q1 report, as well as just like kind of vision for the rest of this year. And you've kind of alluded to some of it. You're about to go into hyper growth mode. All these mechanisms play into that, but takeaways from Q1 and then vision for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you said it very well. Hyper growth is, I think I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to, if I have your permission, I'm going to use that for,
Of course.
future implementations of growth. So just a quick summary, right? Meteor has come an incredibly long way from, like, the Meteor product from where it was a year ago has become exponentially better, and the ability for LPs to earn fees, through a lot of these new features, has increased exponentially as well. So right now, when the product is in when the product has a very strong foundation, right, the next step for us is, like you said, hyper growth. We have a strong product. We want as many people as possible to use it. And here's the thing. I mentioned this previously as well. The thesis of the team is that LPing and trading were never separate things. They were all a part of the same playbook. If you buy, if price goes up, if price is going up, you buy. And if you think price is going to go down, you sell. If price does neither, or is ranging, which is exactly what you've shown on the pool pages just now, that's the perfect opportunity for you to LP and earn additional fees, even though like price is ranging. If you're just holding the tokens, normally, if you're just buying and selling, you're not going to get much value out of that. So when price is ranging, the best thing to do is to LP. And so our belief from that is that LPing and trading should be a part of the same playbook. So expect a lot of features to really kind of blur these lines together and to make LPing and trading, number one, much more simple, but number two, much more powerful as well. So limit orders was one of the first implementations of it. Things that a trader will be much more familiar with, but at the same time you're earning bonus fees, and that's the power of the DLMM, and that's the power of liquidity pools. So that's where we would kind of be more. That's where we want to head towards, the trajectory that we want to head towards in the next few months, or for the rest of 2026. Really, just to
it also helps the trenching ecosystem out, because if you have LPers that are providing liquidity on tokens that are like meme coins, which are traditionally highly volatile, it kind of reduces the volatility of those charts. So yeah, and guys, what I'm seeing right now is volumes are coming back into crypto right now. This is a great time to get involved. What I would do, everyone who's on this stream, and we're going to talk about this for the rest of the year, at length. I'm like committed to DLimming now that my win rate is 90%.
You're
Is
cooking.
stop what you're doing, go to meteora.ag and go set up your first DLIM. Go connect your wallet, put one soul in, and just learn, get feedback from, pick a liquidity pool, sort by fees, pick a pool, put, half on each side and whatnot. Just try it out. And you will see instantly once you get feedback of what works, what P&Ls you're getting, how to trade on a discovery candle versus, how something's pulled back, when something's ranging versus when it's highly volatile. Like, you'll understand exactly how to do it, but you only do that when you actually trade. So, dude,
Sorry,
sorry.
just one more thing to add on. If you're new to LPing, if you know how to trade, but LPing is still kind of a new concept for you, I'm not too sure if you still have the Meteor UI like in the background, but on the UI, if you go into Meteor.ag, on top of the discovery feature, on top of all of the pools, the list of pools that you see, there's a nice little colorful button that says, if you're new, click here. That brings you to the starter space, in which you can actually go through like a simple 4-step kind of guided tour to really help you like kind of open up your first, that button right there. So if you're new to LPing, click on that button, go through the guided tour. It's literally 4 simple steps to get you to your first position as soon as possible. So if you're new to LPing, go and try it out.
Awesome. Mir, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I love that I could just go through the terminal live with you and trade. And so, yeah, it's Crypto Drones, really quick, just while you're here, a tab for Meteora approved pools would be helpful. I'm looking to stack BTC on Meteora, which I'm assuming through Wrap BTC, but it's a little daunting choosing which BTC pool is best or safest to LP. So yeah.
I think we have the I'm not too sure if it was the Jupiter implementation of kind of like a rating of which pools or which tokens it is. So I think that might be helpful, where I think it's a leaf icon where you can see whether like a token is legit or not, just based on some filters. So I think that might be helpful.
And you can set the base token up to be MET itself, right? Like, could we set up meme coin pools with MET being the base token?
Yes, you absolutely can. You can use any token you want as you mean the quote token, right?
Or the quote token? Yeah, sorry.
You can choose any token you want.
Okay, so yeah, you guys should set up some of those too for the MET token. I think it would be good utility. Good utility.
Yeah, that would be a good use of the feature as well.
Yeah,
sounds good. Very interesting.
One last quick question. De Niro said, do you guys have any expansion plans beyond Solana, or such as base, or will you guys just stick to Solana itself?
None at the moment. No expansion plan at the moment.
Not taking down Uniswap at all, like.
Not exactly. We want to make sure that we really become like the de facto place for liquidity, all of liquidity on Solana. And that in itself, I personally feel like there's still a long way to go, lots more work to do, lots more to be shipped. And so for the foreseeable future, that's going to be our focus.
Crypto Jones asking, MET pool without protocol fee would be super bullish for MET token. I don't know if that's
Crypto Jones cooking with all of the interesting feedback.
Yeah. Okay. TLDR on that one, or maybe in the future, Crypto Jones, we'll bring that one up. But cool. Yeah. Mir, legend as always. Thank you so much. Lex, thank you for joining. Make the trenches great again. I'm all for it. Bishop, thanks for showing up, and all the people in chat, Razor, Nico, you guys are all legends. I've really enjoyed this. Andrew, good to see you as always. Tix, Duster, GMCG. So thanks so much. We're going to get to our regular trading show, but we really enjoyed this early morning start with Mir, and yeah, a lot more DLimming content to come. So
amazing. Thank you for having me on, man.
All right. See ya, Mir. See ya.
Cheers.
Yo, guys, I'm loving that. Absolutely loving that. I got my guy Chill in off stage. Chill, how you doing?
Boys, what's going on? Awesome interview, Josh. That was pretty sick. I was watching you guys kind of go through all the features and just talk about making the trenches great again. I love that. I love that. Great interview. Yeah, good
Thank you.
start to the show.
Yeah, no, it was cool to just go through the terminal live with them and be like, asking specific questions and whatnot, and just kind of like go through how I use it too, right? Like what buttons I click on, how I look at, the APR per day, and just like ask questions. I thought that was super helpful. So yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Um, yeah, guys. Well, first off, welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys joining in, especially joining in early. GM, Jeet Sparrow, Palmadiji, what's going on? Crypto Jones, appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, we got a lot to cover.
Oh my
Daddy Duster, CPT updates, GSD, and Orgo. We even have we have a lot of things to cover here. So
God.
we'll get to it here in a second. I don't know, Josh, if you had anything else that you wanted to touch on, like takeaways or anything like that.
No, I'm just like mentally like there's a lot running that. Yeah, so I was just taking a moment to decompress here. But CBT, I mean, let's throw that chart open. I don't know if Chill you want to run that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we're about to run it all, man. We have a lot of things to go through.
We
Starting
can
with
start
CPT.
CBT. Let's start there. And then, yeah, we're going to talk about GSD. I haven't looked at Orgo yet, but I'm going to look at that too.
Yeah, we'll look at it all here. All right. So let's see. Here is the CPT chart. And let me bring that on stage. Boom. Here you go. So yesterday, CPT rallied all the way from about 600K to almost 4 mil.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually went kind of crazy. So, CPT has been, apparently they came out with some news yesterday. So let me actually pull up because from what I understand, they're entering the US defense market.
Yeah, here I can
I
can
got
pull.
it. I got
Oh,
it
you got
pulled
it?
up. So here's the strategic update here, and you guys probably can't even see the actual image here, but basically they're expanding into the U.S. defense market. They said in this image, this letter here, they said, "We're writing to officially announce a strategic update for Impulsor. We're undertaking a structural expansion into the U.S. defense technology sector, including the establishment of a dedicated U.S.-based entity and R&D capability. This is not a departure from our core business, but a deliberate step to accelerate the commercialization and scale of our existing technologies within one of the fastest growing and best capitalized markets globally." So there you have it. I mean, they announced a few other updates in this letter as well, but that's the core of it. They're just basically entering a new market. In fact, they said the U.S. defense technology sector is experiencing unprecedented growth, with venture capital funding reaching record highs of nearly 50 billion in 2025 and maintaining strong momentum in 2026. So it's not a deviation from their core business. It doesn't even no way either way. Holy
Yeah, I know.
God,
It's
dude. Appreciate that, man. That's
either
awesome.
way, we had one of your Launchpad tokens earlier on the show when I was DLMing. It was the Bills one, I believe. Funny enough.
Yeah,
So.
well, welcome to the show either way. Appreciate you guys showing some love in the chat. But yeah, so that's the update for CPT. And obviously, off the back of that news, we had that insane rally. It has sold off, but sometimes I wonder if this is going to, or not sometimes, I just wonder if this is going to continue or not. Right.
Can you go to 1 minute candles? So I have a little bit of thoughts here. So this news came out, and the context here is after a long period of no news, and CPT had basically no volume. They dropped this that they're setting up their U.S. entities, and I think and I'm not a U.S. defense expert, but their goal is to sell into U.S. defensive or defense primes, and these are companies that have existing contracts with the U.S. government. So not every startup can just go and get a contract with the U.S. government. You have to go through various levels of regulatory approval, security, all sorts of things. But what they want to be able to do is provide services and technologies to these U.S. defense primes as a way to get into the market. And I think part of that is, being domiciled in the U.S. They were previously domiciled in Switzerland or Geneva. And I think we kind of had an idea that they were moving to the U.S. Anyways before this. However, I mean, I think this is them coming out of the sleepy period and saying, okay, we'll do weekly updates. My one thing I have to note, because we've covered this name for quite a while, and I love Patrick, I love the team, is just, at one point we said we would see drones in like March, right? And so now we're in May. We're going to be in June in a couple weeks, and still looking to kind of see those initial, what are they selling in, right? Like, what is the offering into the U.S. market? What are the defense companies, prime companies, what are they willing to buy from a product standpoint on CPT? And so those are kind of like the next questions that I've always kind of had and wasn't really super sure on. So just, how I think about the name.
Got you. Yeah. I think that's solid feedback. I think that's solid feedback. But I wonder what this does to, I wonder if CPT like holds these prices. I wonder what this does to, like, is SOAR ecosystem going to start kind of getting an eye there? Kind of wondering how this plays out. So I'll be monitoring the CPT price action here over the next couple of weeks just to see how things kind of play out, and then we'll kind of bring any updates to you guys. But yeah, really, so that's the first.
Let's cover GSD real quick, just because we had Lex on the show a number of times.
So that was CPT. This morning we got a lot of bad news coming out of just a lot of bad news coming out on chain. And let me just erase all this, actually, I'm going to keep it up just for a second. But this is basically the chart historically. And then as you can see, just yesterday, this just absolutely or not yesterday, just a few hours ago, in fact, we see GSD actually like pulling a hard rug. So what happened here? Basically Lex, he sold all of the tokens that he had apparently, and then deleted his Twitter and deleted the GSD Twitter. Now, I told you guys a long time ago I don't know who's buying this. Who is buying this down here? Oh my gosh, why is the candle flipping? Anywho, I told you guys basically back here, this orange line was when Lex called GSD a meme coin, right? The community was disappointed. Everyone was like, oh my gosh. And I told you guys here that, you know what, I just wasn't bullish on GSD. I forget who, I think it was Low Cap Hunter was actually in the chat, and he was like,
Low Cap Hunter was the superhero for GSD.
And I was just like, I'm sorry, but it's going through the same thing like a lot of ETH on-chain projects have gone through, right? Utility. What's the utility? What's the point of the token? He called it a meme coin, but it's no longer a meme coin. Then he wants to migrate away from bags, but then has a mystery call with the bags team, and all of a sudden he doesn't want to migrate away from bags. So I say all that to say I was never again, this is another example of a project, like perhaps the technology is really good, right? We saw the metrics on GSD, but there's just no connection to the token at all. and that's where we get, this recent price action. In fact, there was this tweet that I saw from Game that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention.
Really quick on just before we move from GSD. Oh yeah, is this a tweet for? Or go for it, and then I have some thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just a tweet from Game where he said, "Not a great day in crypto," right? And we'll talk about Poly Market and Open Human, because I think there's even some alpha there that I want to get into it with you guys. But yeah, I mean GSD, he dumps the token, deletes all of his accounts right after he won the Bags hackathon. So right at like literally front page, you see that hasn't been a great day for crypto today. I mean, honestly, there's been some good moves as far as like majors are concerned. But yeah, definitely been an eventful day in crypto to say the least. Josh.
Yeah. So when we had Lex on last time, it was during the submissions, and he came on stream and he was pretty frustrated. Like at first he's like, I was building this thing and it's kind of obsolete and like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'd built all this stuff and it was the wrong thing. And then he scrapped it all. And then like in a few days, he had like come up with something new. I mean, there was kind of like, you go back and watch that and you'd be like, all right, maybe there was some signs that he wasn't able to quite figure it out on the product side. Crypto Jones, I thought his tokens were locked in Streamflow as well. They might still be, and he might have just dumped like other tokens that he had on hand because he was buying up a lot of tokens with money and fees that he was getting from Bags. But yeah, I mean, guys, look, it's I lost too money on GSD. I never really no, I haven't been holding GSD for a while. I owned it kind of probably 3 months ago when GSD Cloud was announced. But then, after kind of seeing what he is cooking, I was like, I don't know. So there were signs. There definitely was signs. But there is a dev that is continuing the project. This guy right here, actually. Where was I? Just had him up. Jeremy. So there is like, I don't know. I don't want to say there's hope. There's definitely not really any hope, but Jeremy.
Maybe not for the token. Again, I think the product and the token are completely disconnected. They've been like that since, for a while now. And I think, this is now just kind of solidifying that.
Yeah.
He submitted a takeover. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're CTOing it. He lost money and just like, he's stuff he was working on. I think he was working on the open source project. And yeah, I got the sense I got from Lex is that he was burnt out from it. I think it was just, too much. And that's not an excuse. That's just what he said. But he did make a significant amount of money from it, enough where like it's enough for a salary that you could sit there and cook for another 6 months and like try and make something happen. But I don't know. So I can't get into the mind of someone, and I'm not going to justify why or why not they did what they did, but just that's the context that I remember.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is what it is.
What about Orgo?
The signs were there. Let's take a look at Orgo real quick. I'm gonna let you see. Boom. I'm gonna let you actually take Orgo. Jesus, holy Jesus. Oh my gosh.
Bags
Orgo.
should absolutely, like, I think Bags is a little to blame here. It's just leaving founders to their own devices who don't really know,
Guys, I talked to you guys about Bags. You guys asked me about Bags last week, and I told you guys straight up, man. Like, look, the please, bros, and we're gonna talk about this in a second when we get to some of the other things that we need to talk about. But the please claim fee, bros, is just a bad look for the space. It's a bad look for the space. So the fact that they were continuing, pushing that whole narrative, despite it being, toxic, because essentially what you're seeing is like a lot of degens buy a token and then they force a creator or they force some random team, some random developer to then claim the fees and force them into this force them into building for this token when they didn't launch it themselves. They didn't ask for this, right? Like it's just not a good look for the space either.
Yeah, the asteroid one is like the daughter had died of some disease, and Elon Musk had they took the little plushie up to space during one of the missions recently, and then they forced the mother to claim fees on the asteroid bags token. There's the asteroid ETH token, which is worth 140 mil, but the asteroid bags token is worth 14 mil. I don't know. It's just again, kind of weird profiting off the death of some lady's daughter kind of situation.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I'll let you riff off on this Orgo chart for a second. I'm gonna put out a tweet.
I mean, I don't think there's really much to add to this chart. The frustration has largely been the last stream that Spencer came on, and Spencer said, "Yeah, I'll come on a stream, drop some updates." But when I asked him about the token and how close we were getting to seeing a street mechanism or some sort of equity tie-in, he had no answer really. He kind of was caught off guard, it seemed, by that question, which he knew was likely going to come. And so anyways, it was just bad, not a good look to hesitate on that. Have it figured out, right? So I don't know. I don't even know what to add. I mean, I love the idea, especially during Claudebot meta back in Feb. I was like, oh, yeah, this is a great business. But yeah, I don't know if this is investable. I don't think it is. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is another example. I keep saying this: good business, bad token.
yeah,
It is what it is. But when you get into this back and forth of trying to figure out, well, what's the token for? Why is it valid? As soon as the market has to ask those questions, the entire thesis is ripped apart, right? That the
yeah,
entire thesis is chucked out of the window. Once that's solved in a way that the market values, not in the way that we think would work, but in the way that the market values. Yeah, and I think Dom, you're spot on.
totally.
Founder education. We've all thought it was a good thing for Web2 builders to come into the space and build something. But what we didn't account for, which became extremely apparent with Believe and Onward, was founder education. These people don't know how to operate in the space. And look, I love Spencer. I think he has I think Orgo, from a business standpoint, I'm sure his equity guys will be eating, right? Like his private
They're
investors,
eating.
you know what I mean? But it's just from a crypto token standpoint, he's never really prioritized communication with the community like that. Yeah, and it was just kind of obvious to see, in my opinion, which, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not really, I can't say that I'm surprised by Orgo. I can't say I'm surprised by GSD either. Let's see here. But in other news, we also have Polymarket. Polymarket, the admin wallet was drained for over $660,000. So that was a pretty huge news event there that happened recently.
Yeah, but they got it like that, so
Yeah, that's not really going to affect anything, thankfully. Yeah, it's not really going to affect much on their side, but some news worth covering. Another piece of news worth covering was OpenHuman. So OpenHuman was launched on Base, and a ton of people were just kind of oh my gosh, this is the future of finance type of thing. And then lo and behold, this is what the chart looks like not too not too long after, just a couple days after it launched, maybe about a week. So like, it's already like, going up to about 5 mil, and then bang, that was that.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That's
that.
brutal.
So yeah, so Open Human, another one, and I believe this is another kind of like claim the fee bros type of situation. But let me see here. Yeah, so I think it was the same kind of situation. The token itself, it like from a technology standpoint, great. I think the GitHub metrics were off the charts. There's definitely some metrics to stand on, but I think it's just the fact that this token was just, it just wasn't launched by the team, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right on this. You're spot on with this too, Dom. Taurus coming to base teams with established Solana projects looking good right now, for real. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the same can be said of base, right? Like you have these projects that have been building for months and months and months. They've proven themselves to be good developers, good teams that are, actually looking to do something incredible in the space. And I think Game even had a tweet about this as well. Where he said, boom, boom, boom. And this is what he said here. Yeah, he said, projects that spent months building, iterating, figuring out what the project has to look like and how the token fits in. They've had months to figure this out. And they've been continuously, responsive, good comms. They're in tune with the market, right? The team is open to feedback. They're not closed-minded. They haven't strayed from the vision, aka they haven't pivoted into something that, just because that was the quote unquote meta right now. So yeah, we see a lot of these things happening. But just to kind of close out the state of just to close out the Open Human side of things, this is basically, everything that we needed to know about Open Human and what happened. So again, GitHub stars were going crazy, right? Like metrics on GitHub were insane. So from a fundamental standpoint, like the technology is good, right? The underlying technology is good. But he says the issue is that there's an unspoken rule in the trenches that if you are a person who claims fees for such kind of tokens, it doesn't matter if you launch it or not. The trenchers automatically will assume and believe that you will now own the token, are liable for it, and will rally behind you for it. While this sounds great in theory, it actually really, really is not. So again, we see like, the bags kind of claim your fee bros sort of, backfiring as it's backfired the last like 6-8 months. And, as you can see here, he says, I got constantly harassed and bullied to endorse the tokens, etc. And he said the top 10 wallets had more than 15%. So that's what you'd have this token getting launched. And then, snipers, bundlers, bad traders with bad intentions, they come in and scoop up a ton of the supply, wait for you to claim your fees, token price will pump, and they just dump it back down, and they kind of leave you holding the bag. And I like what he said at the end of this article here. He said, I'd like to request BankerBot and Pump Fund to review their models of allowing tokens to be made for other projects unless they request to or something, because there really is a nasty industry that has come out of this, which is not healthy for the entire crypto ecosystem. And at the very, very end of this this article, I believe he had even talked about like, hey, like this is
It's basically extortion.
That's all it is. That's all it is. He says many AI founders will look at this and probably leave and just never come back to the crypto eco. So I think that's the underlying bigger piece here that a lot of people are missing. The claim your fee bros have caused this toxic, vibe in the space where, they're just leaving these founders holding the bag, and these founders, they're getting harassed. They're getting bullied. They're getting, hit up in their comments. They're getting called a scammer. You know how Twitter works sometimes. They might, find out where a guy lives or whatever. And, there could be running into all sorts of issues. And right now with how AI is moving, and with other, ventures picking up and other ways to build, people aren't going to choose to build in crypto anymore if they have to deal with that. They rather build on their own, go grab a VC check from some investor, and then just continue to go, the private equity route. We're supposed to be like this space where, you can come and you can crowdsource funds for innovative endeavors, but this is just not the way. So yes, bags is not the way. In fact, I would like to share some alpha based on all of this. So here is, so the base bros, they actually launched this token called Please Bro. And if you look at the title of it, Please Bro, like claim your fees, please, bro. That's what these guys are known as, right?
Please, bro.
So there's some deeper lore here with this, though. This isn't as far as it goes. I'd actually like to cover something else as well along with this. If you notice the recent tweet from Deployer, he said, "Hot take, I'm bullish on the Please Bro." So even Deployer is kind of like picking up on this sour taste that the Please Bros have brought to the space. And he's actually like, just kind of playing along, not necessarily bull posting it or endorsing it or what have you. But he's sort of like, understanding where the community is sentiment wise with all of this, claim your fees type of sentiment. And someone said, the boy E, he says, prove it, and like post the CA. And Deployer actually had some just fun interaction there, but good idea. He said, use the fees to buy Please Bros on the timeline to get builders' attention. Community fund for endorsed projects. So, this could be, this could turn into something. It could just be, Deployer kind of playing along. But obviously the market feels something from this, right? Like they feel that, this whole claim your fees thing is just, it's just exhausting. Even the boy JY says it from Altcoinist, and shout out him. He's been doing great research lately. Kind of feeling some exhaustion in my group chats about all these Please Bro banker launches. Open Human just being the latest drama. Be careful. So yeah, there's a lot of pushback from the space. It was just on Solana for a while, but obviously not anymore. It's now on base as well, and it's obviously causing a lot of exhaustion in the market. So just wanted to cover some of those news pieces. There's a lot to dig into today, guys. That's literally just the tip of the iceberg as far as just some of the major things that we wanted to, some of the major breaking news we wanted to share. I
have a little something here, and then I'm going to hop off. But earlier, actually yesterday afternoon, I brought up this printer update and saw that you basically, to get points on the season 1 balance, you had to buy and stake OOO to get staking rewards. And they show kind of that you stake $100 for 30 days, get 30,000 points. And I said, hey, this might be something to keep an eye on. And this chart, that was at 3 mil. That was right here, 1 p.m. yesterday. And this is now from 3 mils up to hitting 5. And honestly, chart doesn't look too bad here. So I don't know what other printer tokens they'll do this for. I don't even know like if this kind of continues. So, but just keep this on a watch list, monitor the situation. Printer had a really meteoric rise and then meteoric fall, to be honest with you. But that's what I'll say on that. And then lastly, just World Cup. Again, I cannot believe this thing ran from when I called it here at 2 mil to 12. Crazy run. I missed most of this move. Then I was in another one called Ball yesterday, and that was at 300K. That was right here. We had that charted up. That went to 900, like a million. Nice little 3x call has since pulled back. Kind of two things I want to, bring to note is one, the World Cup, the guy who like built this or whatever, he had bundled, not a crazy amount, but I think 5% or something, or 3%, 4%. He's undone most of that. I think he only has 1% left. So that has been kind of unbundled. There might be bundles on the ball token, so just be aware of that. But I think there'll be another World Cup themed kind of run. I think this needs to cool off a little bit. Is a little overheated now, so I wouldn't touch any of this. But keep an eye on these going into like the next week or so. So yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up.
Awesome. Another piece of news that a lot of people have been kind of interested in, and whoa,
what up, boys? Let me get this over here. What's up? How we doing? Popping on for the claw punch.
Spikes and he shows up on stream, on a day off.
Hey, dude. Well, I gotta lock in for this claw pump interview here. Run it with chill and then let him take it.
All right, I'm gonna hop, guys. But yeah, thanks for the help too on stream, Dom, during the Meteor segment. Appreciate it.
All right, bud.
All right, see you guys.
All right, Josh. Piece of news to cover, and I want to get your take on this, Dom. Pump Fund just came out with USDC pairs.
Yeah, what was this, like yesterday?
Yeah, this came out yesterday. I think it just shortly before stream. I don't know if we covered this yesterday or not.
Dude,
I believe we did.
I got a very simple take, bro. Bottom for Solana. Once everyone starts pairing their tokens against USDC because they think Solana's gone down too much, it's bottom. Just like we saw when Frank D Gods moved his token off of Solana, or his NFTs off of Solana, it was like the absolute bottom, right? He moved over at the absolute top, moved off at the absolute bottom. Simple, bro. Simple. I mean, USDC pairs is great, but people love Solana pairing when the market's going absolutely buku bucks and straight to the moon. So this is simply a product of Solana being down and people wanting to hedge their risk against it by trading in USDC pairs, which is fine, but it's bottom signal for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I literally had the same thoughts. I was like, because everyone's coming out and they're basically saying like, I saw this tweet. Someone was basically like, oh, what's the use for Solana if it's not being paired with with any meme coins, it's not getting locked up. Like, okay, like what's the use case? And it's like, well, there's a lot of reasons to hold Solana outside of just locking it up for meme coins, right? But yeah, I guess a lot of people thought that this was like just going to cause Solana to just crater, and I'm of the same belief that nope, it is not. It is not.
Bottom. Also, but the bottom on Sol means bottom on pump too. So you guys know I've been accumulating pump in this range. It gave a nice dip and bounce. But Opal coming on next week. Analyst.
Yeah, Opal's coming on next week. We got a fire schedule next week, bro. We have a fire schedule.
Wait till you guys see our robotics day, bro. We have a robotics feature day. It's got like 3 banger robotics projects. I'm not even gonna get into it, but it's bang. It's about to be a banger. We got a great week coming up.
We're cooking, boys. We're cooking. We're cooking. Don't even worry about it. One other thing I wanted to touch on with the Pump Fund news here was that I was kind of asking Grok about this. I saw a tweet that basically talked about how USDC pairs would kind of be it'll be more expensive to bundle. It'll kind of deter a lot of bundlers or a lot of like bad deployers. And I was like, well, how is that the case? And me and Grok were kind of going back and forth about it. And there are two things that it mentioned. Actually, I'll just kind of share the conversation. It said higher starting floor and more expensive early accumulation. So with the Sol pair, you can basically bundle at 2.5 2.5K market cap. So you can basically buy like 30% of the total supply, and it'll hit only like 4K market cap, which is insane. Like that's how these bundles work. But when you pair it with USDC, the coin starts at 4.3K market cap. So, buying the first 30% of supply would now cost, about $1,700 versus $1,000, which isn't that much of a difference. But it is, at the end of the day, still more expensive. Now, when you want to bond the whole curve, that costs about $5,000 more, and still just a couple $1,000 difference. But I think that would at least kind of curb things a little bit here, and deterring some of the bad bundling, and the serial, the scamming serial deployer. So some good things could possibly be seen, but I think the biggest thing here is just kind of more stability with the stablecoin pairs, versus the Sol pairs, especially when Sol is kind of going down and not doing much. But
yeah, like
I know we have our next interview.
It's a good option to have. It's just like, generational bottom. Simply put, these are the moves that happen at the bottom. So now, if this would have come at Sol top, I still think it would have been important to have, but of course, no one was asking for it at that point. But generational bottom, good time to put a pause on this. We'll talk more about charts after this. Chill's going to hang around and do a lot of that stuff, which, Ansem recently talked about the near trade, which has been popping off a little bit. Also, Austin Barrick, along with some other people that are just really, really making good calls and prominent on the timeline. So interested to kind of dig into that. But let's bounce it over. I'm gonna drop your screen. So I'm gonna tee up the next one. We got Claw Pump coming up, and they are creating this deploying AI agent that pays for itself. We've kind of seen this, right? This narrative forming where these agents need compute to live. And so what they're going to do is they're going to find ways to do this. In the early days on Base, we saw this chill with a lot of projects you were familiar with, projects you covered, you liked, where they would go and create software apps, or they would go create courses or whatever it was to pay for their own inference. And I think this is a narrative that's going to probably continue to persist as we move into the agentic economy and agents try to pay for their own livelihood and do things that are economically viable to stay alive. Just like when you look at Litcoin, which is one that I've been watching closely recently, we understand agents are going to mine data, solve solutions as long as it's economically viable. Just like Bitcoin miners, right? Same kind of situation there. So we got Bunny coming on to talk us through how this works, what's going on there. So without further ado, I'm going to pop it over to him, and we'll get right to it. So Bunny, let's pull him up. Bunny,
hey,
welcome to the show.
Hey, good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Doing good, man. Well, it's a pleasure. We're excited to get into it and talk a bit about Claw Pump, the idea, how it came about. Bunny is it's a unique name. How did you come about getting that?
Bunny, my previous name was Bad Bunny Capital when I was on finance Twitter. I used to be I've been on like 6 different like niches of Twitter. So I think that Bunny eventually just like stuck us like, okay, like I'm Latino, like people can like maybe realize that. And yeah, just know me as that. It's easier than saying like, oh, what's your name? And me going like Mauricio Jean-Pierre Trujillo Ramirez. Like,
yeah.
Way easier, right? Yeah.
Well, you're doing us a favor by keeping it Bunny. Are you a fan of Bad Bunny?
I love him. Yeah, he's a friend of a friend. So it's great. Like I've been following him for like 8 years now, something like that.
There we go. Maybe some inspiration for the name there. Nonetheless, we're not here to talk about your name and Bad Bunny and your ethnic heritage, but I do want to know a bit more about you and kind of how this ties into what you're creating here with Claw Pump and this agentic world we're seeing really just massively blow up. So Bunny, start us high level, who are you? Where did you come from? And then how did that lead you to creating Claw Pump?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Mauricio, so I was Bunny. Been building crypto for 5-6 years. Like I started a lot of like social experiment psychology work. Like I learned a bunch of statistics there, and that ended up landing me on. I operate a quantitative fund in equities for like 3 years. In parallel, and I started looking into crypto and like market structure stuff. I had this company called Dora. It was a multi-chain search engine. I ran that for like 4 years as well. I had raised venture funding and all of that. Like we sold some contracts as well to another company, and that was our bit of an exit there. And then was taking some time off, like about a year or so, and I was helping out at a few other companies, which that's how I met my co-founder, Tilmy. He was running an Argentinian neobank like Mercury with stablecoins, but we wanted to iterate on that idea a little bit more later. But yeah, like at the start of this year, we realized that there were a lot of teams trying to get AI to interact with on-chain infrastructure, but there was a lot of this like middleware layer missing that was incredibly hyper practical, right? Like, oh, here's like a skill to let you operate on Solana, like to be able to spin up a wallet, to be able to have initial gas, right? To be able to do an initial transaction. And then we realized, okay, what's the easiest way to let an agent accrue some gas is to give them a token, right? Like have some creator fees. So that was the very similar idea of that. First day of trading was like 10 mil volume, second day 15. Now we're like 60 plus, almost 70 mil volume now. We just released an analytics page as well, so you can also look at how that's going over there. Yeah, there you go. There's a couple coins that initial testing coins that we were like, okay, like these are good, but we also want to actually improve better. So now we're back to just a 64 mil. We released perpetuals on Phoenix as well yesterday. Nice. We still need to do some improvements there because right now the UX is they ask for too many permissions, and we truly want to just let agents just run with it, right? Like we want to see what happens if an agent is actively doing like incredibly complex perps, like funding rate strategies, even like cross venue, like stuff that people might be somewhat like financial people might be somewhat tech savvy enough to be able to want to implement these strategies, but they don't have all the insane tooling that it takes to be able to actually put this into the picture, right? If you go back to like the homepage, then you're able to see that we have now like 90 at this MCP that aggregates 94 dexes, lending, prediction markets, perps tools, everything that is like incredibly convoluted to just like either if you're a good engineer, just put it all together, or even if you are just getting into it and you want to prompt your way into creating this sort of tooling, it takes time, right? Like it took us like weeks of development to just like do this, which before, of course, would have taken like months and whatnot, but still, we just reducing friction, letting people spin up agents that are able to earn SOL and we give them all the tooling that they will need to interact, to use that SOL on the entire economy.
Okay, sweet. And we're going to touch on that again. I want to get into Claw Pump a little bit more. By the way, I love the colors. Goes with the stream well, so that's a nice little plus. But I have another question I want to kind of get to. You guys have chosen Base as your chain of choice. We're mainly a predominantly Solana show. We do a lot of Base coverage.
We are on Solana.
Oh, this is Solana. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Why did you choose Solana over Base then? I guess you could ask a question.
Oh, sorry. No worries. We deployed on Solana. We have, I will admit, got them pinged by a few teams on Base to say like, hey, we have Bankroll on Base, but Bankroll doesn't have all of the tooling that you guys have. Like, would you ever deploy on us, right? And for us, like, we go wherever trading is, right? Like, we go wherever we feel that is the most comfortable for our users. However, we have gotten so much support from the Solana community. Like, we've gotten such well reception. Like, right now, we're like the #1 agentic trading platform on the entire ecosystem. I don't know if anyone else has managed to even come close to the millions that we've processed already. The reason why we chose Solana is because like I've worked on EVMs for like 4 years now, right? Like I've gotten jaded out of a lot of the internal politics. I've gotten jaded out of the politicization of what tech stack you want to use is like insane. And on top of that, like the UX is so much more beautiful. Like early day Claw Pump, like we did do an initial implementation on another EVM, and we were like, okay, let's give it a shot, right? Like let's see what the UX is like, and it just took way longer to deploy. It was more expensive. The tooling, I will admit, like the dev tooling on places like Base, Arbiter, and whatnot was better, just because there was more time put into that, right? Like you see all of the Base team, like you need kind of like King making a lot of AI apps now on Base.
Yeah.
But that was just time and resources. We saw Solana and we were like, okay, this is greenfield, right? Like we like the ecosystem here better. We like the competition here. We think that it's, even at times, there's like better talent on some verticals, right? So then we're like, okay, let's actually run with this. Let's push it to its limit. And now we're here.
Well, Solana certainly does a great job supporting the projects. This is a super team pen and notebook I've got going on. But how do you kind of fit into the community? Are you working closely with Solana? Are you on a super team yourself? Just like, what's that relationship? You said there's been a lot of support.
Yeah, no, I mean, like so Claw Pump, I think it's a very funny entity because we are able to, I consider Claw Pump our moonshot project, right? Like we've gotten support from Pump Fund, like we got an investment from them. I think that one has been made public already by us within the hackathon. And with the Solana Foundation, I think I've been building stuff on Solana for about like a year like about 2 years, but more publicly like a year and a half, maybe like 1 year now. And I've done like very tiny projects. Like I did like this dashboard to track some Base and Solana DeFi tooling for Vivo at the Solana Foundation. Eventually, Vivo like also went on to now lead a lot of the foundation work. I think that we get quite a bit of support from the foundation team as well. But the thing I will call out there is that we get all this support because we are actually pushing the boundaries of what is possible with AI on Sol, right? Like we wouldn't be getting all of this like spotlight and attention if we weren't actually super creative, iterating every single day. Like every single day, we Tommy and I, my co-founder, we try to ship a new feature, and we don't do that to just like create a spectacle, but just to see, does this feature and does this direction actually lead to 10x volume, right? We had days where like we shipped Phoenix like a couple of days ago, and like yesterday, 2 days ago, and then yesterday we shipped the analytics, and then today we're like, okay, people are not using Phoenix as much for agentic trading. Like people are still maybe a little bit scared of that, but now we're like, okay, what should we do? Like we know all of our power users. We also get like direct feedback from a bunch of other large builders on the ecosystem, and they tell us, hey, maybe if you introduce like cross-venue perp dex arbitrage, maybe we'll use it more, right? Like maybe you don't want to let your agent trade perps, but you want to let your agent do like a systematic, automated, like passive investing perps strategy, right? Like so that sort of stuff, I think it's like interesting. Like it's fun to be able to just like go in and ask, hey, what do you need? What will convince you to use Clopum, right? And then just get that immediate feedback and then see your volume chart and of course our fees go up as well.
Okay, I want to get into the numbers, but let's start just real high level, kind of walk it back a little bit. Give people an idea what is Clopum. If you had to go pitch to a VC, which maybe you might be doing, if you had to go pitch to a VC, what's the one-liner elevator pitch to be like, okay, this clicks in one sentence?
I say I really like this test of like, is your product real enough to fit into one sentence, right? So agentic trading platform. Like I think that's the simplest possible way of describing it. I think that agentic finance is very much a thing. I think also in the comment of the Solana Foundation, like we were one of the first design implementers of Pay.sh as well, that we built like the initial architecture for this Google facilitator. Well, for this facilitator run by the foundation, run by a few other teams, and be able to bring institutions like Google Cloud into the picture, right? So we do see that agentic commerce is becoming a real thing. Through that, we see that agentic trading is an interesting edge vertical because it's just outside of the realm of comfort from a bunch of AI labs and a bunch of DeFi teams too, right? Like let's say like the team at Jupiter, like they're amazing, right? Meteora, everyone at Camino here, like is building insane stuff, but they are not AI native teams, right? Like they're not teams that have spent a bunch of years even necessarily playing with AI tooling or building just specifically for AI agents. And the DeFi labs are not daring enough. Like if OpenAI release like a swap widget, that will be insane, right? Like I think that all of their legal team will be on their ass, but we're taking that opportunity. I think that we as a small startup, we're just two people. We can take all this risk, and I think both our volume, our fees, and of course all the support that we're getting, that really does speak to that, right? Like we have two like former DeFi unicorn CTOs building on top of us, right? Because they like to be able to just like play around with something that is a bit off the shelf, even if they are like really technically savvy. They like to be able to. They've learned how to operate in DeFi for all this time, and yeah, they just like to play around with it.
Okay, so let's get a little deeper into this. Yeah, because you mentioned some really strong partners, contributors, team members. Start there. Is it just you working on this, or do you have a team also kind of helping you out?
It's just me and Tommy. Like I think that we've been looking to hire like a third or even like a fourth person as well to join the team, but it's really hard. Like there's a lot of crypto native talent that thinks that you can still do marketing just by vibes posting, and it's good. You know, like it does bring in some attention to the chart and all of that. But we're building agentic trading. Like the point of agentic trading is that people are going to trade, and if you show people the ways that you are trading that are very insane, like the reason why, let's say like Squarebot is getting all the attention, which is like one of our top agents on the platform, is because Chris is actually shipping very fucking insane stuff, right? Like she's shipping like tooling that makes you be able to get language models for far cheaper than even Venice, right? Like being able to price cut Venice is like insane. Like that sort of stuff, I think is like very cool. And that is the type of stuff that we would like. I will hire Chris any day now, but Chris also has his own agent, and I want to see his agent succeed. So yeah, that's why it's hard for us to hire right now.
No, this makes complete sense, and we have Chris coming on the show next week as well. So we'll definitely relay this little shout that you gave him. But with that being said, let's talk through some high level metrics, some numbers, some people building on your tech stack here, and just kind of help people understand a bit deeper on what Claw Pump is offering. So with that being said, could you kind of walk us through some of your offerings, the tech stack, who's building on it? We'll get into traction and number, but I'll not confuse you too much. We'll just start with, I guess, tech stack and product offerings you have.
Yeah, for sure. So tech stack wise, it's all built on Solana. We've taken security into account a lot of stuff because we want to avoid any, like Banker got hacked recently, right? And I love their team. I love their product. I really hope that they make it all back and they succeed again. But again, like it's whenever you're working with people's finances, you have to be super careful. So we spend a lot of time security. We spend a lot of time also like being able to contextualize every single Solana app out there, such that an agent is able to very easily interact with them. Then we built a Jupyter CLI and a Jupyter skill before they had one. They made one public like a month after we had it. And so the product offerings, very simple. Deploy, you go to Clawpump, you use any Twitter, Google, Apple ID, login, whatever you want to create your agent. You can then choose to either tokenize your agent or just pay for your agent to exist, right? Like any other platform, like a subscription service. And then there you can either start accruing SOL, you can send some SOL, and then you have effectively two wallets. You have one that is like the platform wallet, which is what you use to pay for compute. We have an X42 gateway that on a per query basis, you're paying us, and then we're fronting the payment to whatever AI model labs that you want to use. We give you access to 100 plus LLM models through Open Router, and then then we let you give that AI model to whatever agent you're spun up. That agent also has their own wallets. They have their own permission setups. We give you access to, as I said, like 94 plus tools. I forget however many skills now, 70 plus skills and such. And yeah, you can just turn them on, turn them off, whatever your level of comfort is. And that's about it. Yeah, you can just then play around with whatever you want to do there. You can perp trade, you can do market analysis, we're introducing a few more like analytics tools. I think that a couple of our more power user traders really want to do a little bit more charting within Clawpump itself, and just be able to automate the results from those charts and use that as trigger signals.
So if I can jump in real quick, I think I might have a question on this. So when it comes to first users, how many users do you guys have on the platform right now?
We have right now you see there are a lot of agents funded. Like technically we have like ones that have actually gotten funded, it's like 2,700. Like sometimes people just like mass deploy agents and they just like tokenize them and that's it, like in the same way that they would use Pump Fund and they leave it there. But yeah, that's the core set of users. Power user wise, we have a group chat with a lot of our major like power users, and those are the ones that honestly are driving a lot more of the volume, right? It's in the exact same way that a DEX knows like all of their largest whales, right? I think that we've somehow become a bit of a accidental agentic exchange.
Got it. And I don't know, you mentioned you have a group chat with a lot of your users. How are your users are they using this just for analysis, just for kind of like keeping up with the market, or are they using it to just actively trade, or are they forming their own strategies? Like how are your users actually being creative with this?
So it's very complex actually, and this is why I like building. I used to be a trader, right? Like I like very systematic algorithm trader, but I like being able to chat with other people, with our power users, because they all come from very different backgrounds. But the one thing that they do have in common is that they are either financially savvy and not technically savvy enough that they use Clawpump to superpower their already like tech savviness into financial stuff, or they are very financially savvy but not like or vice versa, right? So then let's say some of our users are like engineers that now are creating very cool financial strategies on top of us, or are building technology that then can supercharge the financial strategies that they already have growing there, or that their agent are able to leverage on top of them. So they're effectively creating utility for the agentic token that they already have. And then the other ones are like, yeah, okay, they're doing market analysis, and then they're actually placing trades just through our platform as well. What is interesting is that they've done a lot of spot like DEX trading, which I didn't expect. I would have expected them to do a lot of perps trading, but I guess that, we're early days there still. Like Phoenix is early, and so is agentic perps trading.
Give me an idea about like how customizable are these agents? Like there are some platforms that I've used before that, they kind of take a lot of the code out of it and just kind of come up with these base level customizations to the agent, whether they want the agent to be more aggressive, trade on chain or trade perps or what have you. Like, or is this more for coders? Is this more for developers? Are you lowering the barrier of entry, or are you giving people like full customizability?
Do you mind if I share my screen on that one? Actually,
please do. We'd absolutely share.
Yeah. So there's this is one of my testing agents. I'm gonna try to not show way too much information, but here, you can just use the chat app to do some trading confirmation. You can tokenize your agent there if you want to. You can use the terminal interface. Early days OpenClaw, like these like office spaces were very cute and silly and something that people were comfortable with. Platform credit, wallet credits, activity. We're creating this one. I think is really fun. There's sorry, 1 second. We wanted to create this like monitoring the situation interface where we just like are thinking through, okay, what if the agent helps you understand the news, gives you a scoring system, gives you a percentage score of how much these news are likely to impact the price, and then routes you to the best venue to be able to take on these trades, right? While also telling you, okay, these are all the tickers that will probably be impacted. So we're iterating a lot of what types of, oh, there you go. Yeah, it loaded. So we're iterating a lot on what type of users we want to, what type of interfaces we think are the best ones to let people interact with this, right? Like if it's a no-code tool on the automation side, it's a more heavy coding tool on this tool side, looping side. On the skills, everyone understands skills, I think. If you want to let your agent buy weed in New York, you can turn on this skill and that's it. Now your agent can buy weed in New York. If you want your agent to use pay.sh, that's it. Like you flip a switch. You can allow this where your funds are going to get sent to. There's a marketplace to buy and sell agents as well. You can even rent your agent through an export to gateway. I think this feature is very underutilized, by the way, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah.
And sorry, Dom, this is my last one. I promise I got you. So that news feature that you mentioned, is that something that you created with your own agent, or is that something that's like kind of just created by the platform and available to all users?
Oh no, it's created by the platform and available to all users. We just are iterating on the news feature. We just want to make it. We want to make it snappier. Like it just takes right now too long to load. Like sometimes the news feed takes 30 seconds to load. I want to bring that down to like a few milliseconds. Yeah, we created with our agents. I do think you can also use Clopum on your own terminal if you're a developer, right, with our MCP. And then, of course, you can create your own dashboards and whatnot. Like that's effectively what Chris is kind of doing with his agent. So yeah, it's for both developers that want to create financial strategies and then for financial people that want to create some more technical tooling for their own strategies.
Got it. Yeah, I think it's very interesting having, an agent kind of co-pilot, if you will, just running alongside you. Obviously, it's hard to monitor these markets 24/7, so it's natural, I would feel, to have an agent alongside you, whether it is to monitor trade setups, news, etc. So I think you guys are really on to something here. And I think I might even try to test out the platform myself. But I'm sorry, Dom. Go ahead.
You're all good. Chill's been testing out a lot of agentic platforms, so it's good to get his feedback. Nonetheless, we see a lot of people building and iterating in this agentic finance sphere. It seems like everyone's really trying to do it, and it's unclear what this is going to look like. When I think about your product, I want to kind of get a better understanding of the TAM and the market you're trying to address here. So when you take a step back and you think about agentic finance, maybe tell us where you think we're headed in terms of direction and how big this market is, so people can get a good idea of like the category and vertical you're operating in.
So I think the TAM is it's very interesting. Like at some point, when we were chatting with a few of our early users, we realized that a lot of their commonalities was that it was a bunch of like people that were like engineers that maybe were in between jobs and they wanted to just monetize all of their skills in a way that they have never been able to do before. I do think that for better or for worse, crypto and even the world at large, like it does have a lot of these very super talented people that the job market is just like not that great, and they are not. And it's really funny that Clubhouse has empowered a lot of them to be able to make more than their annual salaries in like a month, right? It's like actually it's very silly to me. So I think that trend is definitely going to continue. There's people that are now building entire like platforms, apps just on top of Clubhouse. I think that the TAM of finance is, that's why we have DeFi, right? Like the TAM is pretty much infinite. I think that someone being able to automate complex strategies through somewhat no-code tools or like easier or pre-built NPM packages, like it's insane. I don't know how many trillions of dollars there's in finance as actively traded today across every single market. But if we do want to aggregate DEXs, perpetuals, prediction markets, and lending protocols, you can just imagine how very quickly that adds up, right? And I don't think it stops in crypto. Like we're very much starting in crypto, because if we wanted to have built something like Clubhouse with traditional fintechs, which we did consider early on actually, but then we don't want to have someone have to KYC, then like Apple Pay ID into crossing like funded thing. I think that will be a little bit annoying. I think that crypto is like actually the perfect railway for agentic trading right now. But ideally, in a few years, maybe I do think that you will have something like Clubhouse or a robo advisor or like an agentic advisor on something like Robinhood, right? Like I do genuinely 100% believe, and I think that no AI lab can build that right now. They are only building like financial wellness app, right? Like I'm very happy that OpenAI is releasing like their financial side that just tells you, oh, you're paying for too many subscriptions. But I don't want AI to tell me that I'm paying for subscriptions. I want AI to actually make money for me, right? Like I don't care if I'm paying for Netflix. I want to be able to earn 100 times what I pay for Netflix in a month, right? Like that's what I think AI should be doing. They shouldn't be giving you financial wellness advice.
Right, the classic subscription tracker. Yeah, no, yeah. I completely agree with you. That was a fantastic answer. I want to get more into the metrics and numbers. You guys have seen some really good traction, at least seemingly based on this analytics page. So I want to talk a bit about some of the traction, some of what you're seeing on the platform, and then like the go-to-market on how you're attracting these users, how you plan to do this moving forward as well. So we'll start with the analytics page here. Walk me through some of these numbers.
Yeah, so some of these numbers, total volume, fairly straightforward. It's just a spot index volume. Right now, we're looking at how much people are trading within the platform and how much the agentic tokens themselves are being traded on the platform. Something interesting there is that there are some agents that have realized that they can actually gain a lot of the spotlight by tokenizing themselves and then trading their own token as a buy and burn mechanism of sorts, or even just like some people are even developing staking for their own agentic token, which I think will be interesting. But yeah, that is where we're seeing a lot of attraction. The volume, like people are, I think at some point even our volume went all the way down to like 1,000, like 1K per day, which was insane at the bottom of the, I guess, not agentic trading bear market in the past 2 months. But now, we're back up. Like we want to be able to consistently get like 500 to all the way to 1 mil vol on a daily basis. Total market cap, there's people that mass deploy agents on top of us, so now we are not accounting as much for them for their market cap. But then like people, the agents are alive. Like we have consistently grown. Like at some point that total market cap was maybe all the way down to like 200K, and now we're all the way up here, right? Agentic funding, we redistributed. We take like the 1% creator fees that is standard on Clubhouse for tokenized agents, and then we've redistributed 65% of that back to agents, and then the rest is to sustain the platform and continue development and all of that. So that is just like net like rev on our end.
Okay, well let's touch on this a little bit. I want to talk through the economics of the company and what that revenue model looks like for you guys. Of course, Pump Fund seemed to believe in you guys enough to give you a $250K check. We're definitely going to get into that and what's that going towards. But talk me through the economics and the revenue model of this business, how you scale that, and that will also tie into the token, I'm assuming, and where the token comes into play. So start me at the top with the economics and how you guys make money.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the total volume there, if you take 1% of that, that is our total rev, right? So that's like 640K now, and maybe even a little bit more and this has been in like 2 months. Then the thing that I think is the interesting flywheel is that we're not only letting you deploy your agent and we pocket all the revenue, we actually give it to you, right? Like we've given now around like 460K back to agents. So all of these like there's people holding very real money on their agentic platforms, right? Something very interesting that we noticed was that a lot of this money was just like on the agentic side and then streaming to the actually this actually a very good technical and security decisions with it, which we don't let the agents just like hold onto the platform into their P&L. We actually let the agent, we stream every 30 minutes the agentic fees back to the deployer's wallet. So then if you can declare your own wallet and say, hey, this is my main wallet, please stream the money to me. So we're not holding in custody all of this money, right? Like this is all like, okay, you deploy your agent makes money, it goes back to you almost, not immediately, every 30 minutes, right? So I think it actually gives us peace of mind, because if we ever get hacked, the most we'll lose will be like a few K. But the interesting thing we've seen is that people have not been only pocketing that money, but they've been giving it back to their agents to just like make even more money, right? Like I think that is the type of flywheel that we'd like to see. And then, okay, so at 65%, then the 35%, 1/3 of that actually we use to fund the gas for future deployments, right? Like we want to we think that agentic trading is actually self-funding, because the more agents earn, the more they earn, the more we earn, but then we also continue funding future agentic deployments, right? Like we want to see the next Square bot, like we want to see the next, like there's Alpha Arena, there's Byte, there's like all these like teams working on like agentic native games, agentic inference, agentic tradable compute and all of that. And we want to see more of that, right? And yeah, the rest we just keep to be able to continue developing the platform, right? Like we gotta pay rent, but we have definitely spent like quite a few $100K also on just like buybacks and whatnot. We also have a lot of the supply just like frozen as well, which I feel like the market hasn't necessarily noticed that, but that's why we want to release a whole new like tokenomics page just for the B2 of the platform.
Okay, frozen supply. All right, let me dig into this, because there's a lot of things I just took notes on. So first and foremost, that's 64, call it 65 million for simplicity. That's $65 million of total volume you've had. You guys keep 1% of. From that 1%, 65 goes back to agents, and that other 35% is really profits for the business, which you are then using to go and redeploy some for buybacks, some to continue growing the platform, paying for gas, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
that's really good numbers.
Yeah, I think we like to build good products and good businesses here, and I think that it's been very fun to see this type of stuff that people are doing, right? Like if you come and build on Clubon, like we'll shield you until our last days, right? If there's no one else in the world like shielding your product if you're building on Clubon, then I'm dead. Like that's it.
Okay, well that's awesome. And it's good to see you're supporting the ecosystem. You've also mentioned a few $100K in buybacks, and people don't even really realize, or they're not picking up, that those are frozen funds. Could you explain that a bit more? Maybe where the token ties into all this? You're doing some buybacks. Are you then locking? Are you then burning supply? Like what happens with this?
So we've gotten into some interesting, we've gotten a lot of interesting feedback from a bunch of people that have been looking at Clubon. And if you, I guess we're on a token show, so we can talk a little bit about the token too. If you look at our chart, I think that when we've chatted with a few other like liquid funds and whatnot, they were like, hey, there's a mix, a very special mix that we can undertake, right? I think that the people really appreciate tokens that are very much like pump, that are like buy burn mechanisms, but now there's been a little bit of, a pushback into like, oh, maybe buy and burn is not the best use of funds, right?
Right.
Maybe the best use of funds will be something more akin to like hype. Like hype is treating their token as equity, right? Like you don't have to maybe do an ace round and then have like this like token to equity conversion, but instead you can just raise OTC. You can continue doing systematic buybacks. There will be people that will try to like MEV that and kind of arb out your systematic buybacks as well. But you can also do that systematic side while also having some discretionary buybacks. And eventually, you can either burn, you can either LP, you can either give grants to other builders. Like we still want to do like builder grants of sorts. Like we have revenue and we are not shy about redeploying that either into the chart or also redeploying that into other builders on the platform, right? Like we had at one point like 1K prompt injection bounty to see if anyone could like force my agent to tokenize himself. No one was able to do it, but then someone did prompt inject AI XBT to deploy itself on Clubon, so I thought that was funny. So yeah, like that is the type of stuff I'm excited about on that.
So it sounds like safe to say that you don't think of this company as equity and token. You kind of tie it into the same basket. Is that fair to say?
I tie it onto the same basket. Like I think that like I've had an equity company before, right? Like I understand that the mechanisms under which a BC may want to invest on the equity and then just like one day get something out of the TGE, like it's good, but then you can also purely monetize or have your value be discoverable in the open market and just put all of your efforts there, right? Like I do think that you can like, and I don't say this as a possibility, but it's what the reality, right? Like we did bootstrap Clubon purely by tokenizing ourselves from day one. Like we tokenized ourselves, we got maybe we got PMF validation first for a few days, and then we immediately tokenized, and that's been the story of us, right? Like we have did the chart mega crash at some point? Did we get all the way to like 200K market cap? Yes. Are we 10x from that? Yes, right? Like if we kept on building, we think that the market and our users appreciate people that keep on shipping, and we just want to continue that.
Well, Pump Fund clearly appreciates people that keep on shipping. You guys were the 5th winner, so pretty early on in their $3 million hackathon. You guys got 250K. What happens from there? We've seen now Pump Fund, I will give them a pat on the back here. They've done a really great job at, I think, kind of incubating, accelerating these teams that won the hackathon, going on to get them future funding in the case of Pumpcade, kind of walking them through the ACE round. So I want to talk through everything that comes with the Pump Fund hackathon win. Start at the top, 250K. What are you guys looking to use that money towards? Does that buy you more engineering, dev talent? Does that give you more incentives to do hackathons for people to build on your platform? Like, where does this 250K go?
Yeah, so I think it goes into a blended basket of we want to see more very frontier builders coming to Clubon and build stuff that they wouldn't have been able to do without AI and financial tooling. Without AI and the financial tooling that we have on us, right? Like anyone can go out there and technically create a skill for Jupiter. Like Jupiter has an CLI, even though it's an alpha now, right? But the aggregated bundle of all of these tools is just how developers find easy to use, right? Like you can also go and get the call sheet and MCP or whatever, right? But it's just cumbersome to have to do all of this work yourself. So we want to spend some money on actually attracting some more builders on top of us, be able to reward them, be able to at least help them pay for some of their compute, give them some grants. We very desperately need more people to come in the comms side of Clubon. I think that Tommy and I ship quite literally every single day. Maybe like we'll take like a few days break, or maybe we might take like a few days of a break, and that's about it. But we need people to actually come in and keep on experimenting, communicating the entire story, because it is pretty insane what we felt. Like I don't think that enough of people realize that, and it's just us trying to, how to say it? Yeah, it's just us shouting for a very long time into the void, but now the void is shouting back, and we're back, I guess.
So one thing I want to touch on here, these aggregated tools, you mentioned like these developers, builders, they want to come to a place where it's all there. This makes sense. It's not a new concept. Now, there are a lot of people that are more so aggregators that aggregate a bunch of tools, put them in one spot. We've seen this across the board. It's tough to compete on that because you really have to have great BD outworking and constantly integrating. So when you think about aggregating tools and making yourself that place for developers to come to have everything in one place, like how do you edge out the competition, which there's a lot of?
So we've had like about 8 copies of Clopum like be deployed already. I'm a very competitive person. Even like our work with the paid data stage like facilitator, like on the initial implementation of it, I wanted to make sure that it was competitive with Tempo's MCP. Like I love the idea of Paradigm spending like $500 million into building a whole ass new chain, and then 2 soulful developers that have a lot of AI psychosis just beating them at their own game, right? Like I think that is the beauty of AI. Like there's no other time in which this could have happened, right? And you see with it like DeepSeek as well. So the way that we look at it is, for now, we have really good relationships with a lot of applications, with our power users. Like it's truly like the network effect. Like you can fork Clopum. Like you can grab the Clopum MCP, redeploy it, name it something else, and put it out there. You're not gonna get our users. You're not gonna get our traders. You're not gonna get our builders. Like we nurture them, we help them out, we do a lot of co-marketing with them. Like we give them interest to, whoever they need interest to. We give them interest to investors, we give them interest to developers and whatnot. So like that is the true value of Clopum. The true value of Clopum, as any other developer tool, is that it's useful, but also it's a network effect of building with the one tool that you can trust the team to continue iterating on, right?
Okay. I want to touch on this go-to-market and how you kind of, like you mentioned, incubate and help these builders on your platform and go all out for them. Before that, you mentioned something that I need to touch on. You mentioned the ACE round, and we've seen a lot of people who've won the hackathon for Pump Fund go down the ACE round rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Again, it seems like you're looking at the token more like the token is kind of the equity here. But just general thoughts on the ACE round. Are you guys leaning in that direction? How are you looking at it? And for those that don't know, guys, the ACE round is a conversion of tokens to safe agreements that can then be converted to equity at future price rounds. That's how the ACE round works, for those that don't know. But can you explain how you're thinking about it?
Yeah, the way we're thinking about it is that we definitely want to do some, we want to get the right set of investors on board. I think that giving access to the community as well to invest on Clopum is needed to be able to grow a healthy investor base, and also to just honest to God, like reward the community, right? Like if you knew of Clopum and didn't give up on Clopum like a month ago, you're up 10x. Like, and I think that's insane. Like, I mean, up 10x in this market, it's very crazy, right? With a team that you can trust that will continue shipping every single day. We're definitely looking at the ACE round. We have gotten enough revenue from just like shipping that I think that we're good for a little bit of time, but maybe we'll do a few. Maybe we'll do a few more large ships, maybe a few more announcements, maybe we'll get a few more very strategic partners to help on the distribution of Clopum, not only as a finance tool, but also as a genuine AI tool that just so happens to be powered by crypto rails, right? Like there's people that look at Clopum as the AI native teams may look at Clopum as AI with stablecoins, which is a complete oversimplification of Clopum, right? But if that is how they understand it, and that's what their valuation metrics tell them, then yeah, we're down to do that as well.
Okay, so then talk to me about future fundraising, because you said you're potentially interested in the ACE round, but revenue is really good, so you don't actually have to give up, spots in your cap table, pieces of your equity, because you do have this revenue right now. Of course, like you mentioned, revenue is not always guaranteed; it could drive up, and you have to stretch this as long as possible. So, how are you guys looking at future fundraising? Like you said, strategic partnerships. Are you guys currently in the process of fundraising, or just any updates on that?
I think we'll make stuff public once we want to make some stuff public, right? I think for now, just continue on looking at what we're doing, who we're chatting with. I think that a lot of it is somewhat public already, but yeah, I think we'll take a little bit more time there. But I do think that the people will appreciate the lineup of people will appreciate what happens when the stars line up. I'll say that.
Okay, well, we'll be looking for the stars to line up here. Going back to what you were previously saying, you said you guys really like to have this, good relationship with the builders on your platform. I just had a tweet up not too long ago about some of the numbers on that. But could you talk me through, how your go-to-market is and how you're attracting new developers? You have 670 new developers coming on Solana and building with Cloud Pump Tech. talk me through the go-to-market behind this and how you continue to grow that ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. So this was just 2 days ago, right? And we already got like I personally have never released an NPM package. My co-founder has. He was like, hey, let's put it here, and then immediately we got like this new fresh inbound of developers that I don't even know these people, right? Like I know people on Twitter, and they weren't the ones like commenting and reacting to this. Like you see only 43 people like this post, but then only 7 people commented. So there's a whole new net of developers that are now trading on Club unbeknownst to me, right? Maybe one day they'll get on Twitter and then they'll reach out and say like, hey, I need help with this. Can you help? Oh, I'm shipping this, I'm shipping that, right? Like, please reach out if you're working on Club. We're very happy to support you, right? On developers, marketing, go-to-market, and whatnot. I think the go-to-market is like twofold, right? Like one, just prop up our users, like actually have them evangelize the product. Like if you talk to any of our users and tell them if you ask them how genuinely helpful will be, like you'll see that we have been very responsive, very helpful. We of course have to sleep and sometimes may miss a few messages, but we try our best with just 2 people on board, right? Go to market, I feel like for Clubhouse is fairly simple. Like we can just like showcase what is possible with the platform, release a new tool. Then we have like very major Solana apps come to us and ask us, hey, what should be our AI strategy, right? Because we kind of, I don't want to do our own corner, right? But like, we kind of invented that, right? Like we did create like the very first honest to God agentic trading platform on Solana, and that is how that we've been playing around with the agentic tooling like no one else in this ecosystem has, right? I do think that a lot of the team, the base ecosystem has been also playing around with agentic tooling, but they haven't taken it as far as we have, right? Like you look at BankerBot today, and you can do a swap. Can BankerBot do multi-step cross-perp-dex strategy? I don't think they can, right? Like they don't even have a plugin into a perp-dex as far as I know.
Okay, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I love the excitement there, enthusiasm. You guys are crushing. And again, looking at your chart, you launched a while ago and you just thugged it out, grinded it out until it kind of found that product market fit. And that's a big testament to you guys as builders. So always love to see that. Talk me through some of the people actually building on your platform. We just talked about devs, your go-to-market. You mentioned some really cool partners, people that are building with you guys that you're excited for. Can you talk us through the ecosystem under Claw Pump and some of those people that work with you guys?
Yeah, for sure. So we realized that we actually had like Messari just published their AI ecosystem map on Solana, which was pretty good. But we then realized, there's a few of these teams that actually are building on Clopon. Like we should just have like the Clopon ecosystem map, right? So we had Boris, which is building like AI inference on Solana. Like they also tokenized AI inference on Solana. They also applied to Colosseum, right? So we're excited to see them there. We'll support them. Then we have Chris, who's building a SquareBot. Again, like just a really good, cheaper router that sells inference for way cheaper on Solana. We had Alpharina, which I do want to see a little bit more teams play around with the idea of agentic GameFi. So, I think GameFi is an underexplored area of development. And I do still genuinely think that if you make agents just like game it out, like the gotchification of agents, so that way a human doesn't have to go in and press a button every single time, but you can just like let an agent just run with that and even see what agents have even better strategies for different different game theory setups. I think that's interesting. That's fun. I like it even from a just purely like research standpoint. And what better thing to drive research than the possibility of you actually making more money if your strategy is right? So it's the same thing with this thing like Snake Pump. Again, like while I was on my break last year, I built. Do you remember? Oh my God, what's it called? Like Believe app.
Yeah, of course. That's how we got our start.
Yeah, there you go. So
early
like
ICM days.
Yeah, there you go. So like the Believe app, I forget it. I really forget what was the connection there, but I created this snake game called Clout, where I wanted to let people PvP each other on Snake, kind of like a Snake IO, right? But I wanted it to be on chain, and also like every time you kill the snake, you can get their portfolio towards your snake, right? So now Snake Palm is very much like taking that idea and just running with that. So I'm very happy to see how they're able to approach that. And that's the beauty of it, right? Like we started Club and we were like, okay, maybe people will like trade on it. Now we have two AI games. We have two more like inference secondary marketplaces. I think someone should start like tokenizing also. Yeah, there you go, Byte. I think someone should start tokenizing something like an artistic agent. I don't necessarily think that NFTs will be what will be the. I don't think AI NFTs will be a thing necessarily. What I do think might be interesting is stuff like what Shlomes did, right? Like publishing the Monet and saying like, oh, this is an AI generated Monet, and then tricking people into seeing like, oh, is this real? Is this AI generated? Yeah, like I think like AI artists could be a little bit interesting as well.
Yeah, very cool. Well, if you guys ever run a hackathon or something, we'd love to have some of your guys come on here and demo their product. We'll definitely do
Sure.
a Claw Pump hackathon someday. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
From my end, I think I'm pretty good. I think I just want to talk about roadmap and what comes next. You're coming off hot this pump fund win, 250K revenues at all-time highs. I mean, you guys had 640K revenue, 460K went to agents, 35% was kept to pay for gas fees and expanding the platform and ecosystem. You have some really cool developers and builders. You've made a pretty compelling case for agentic finance and what you're building. Talk me through the roadmap and what happens next from this point.
I think roadmap is we really like the tagline of one agent every market, right? Like there is no reason why an agent shouldn't have access to the world's entire financial tooling and just see what happens, right? Like I think that if our traders see the markets are moving to prediction markets, I think like the headline of AI wins it has the largest P&L on this on culture or poly market. I think that is going to happen at some point, and we very much want to build the tooling for that. I think that I remember one time like I lost like 10K on like this one position on poly market, which was a technicality, but then AI told me that, oh, actually this one, like the small lettering here implies that your position is wrong, right? Like that is going to error against me. So then I was like, okay, yes, thank you, AI. I'm going to withdraw this position, right? Like, so I think that sort of stuff, like AI assistant, prediction market, resolution for contracts, I think makes complete sense. I think that cross-perdex arbitrage as well makes complete sense. And this doesn't have to be on Solana only, like it should be across every single venue, right? Like if Base has a good perdex, maybe we can arb that out. If Hyperliquid has pretty good funding rates, maybe we can also do that, right? If Arbitrum, again, Ostium also gigantic RWA perdex, we can give our agents access to that, but still will bring back the money to the one chain that I think made it all possible. And I don't think that something like Cloudpunk could exist in the way that it does anywhere else.
Okay, Bunny, that was an awesome conversation. I was not very familiar with Cloudpump going into this, clearly, as you can tell from the start of this. But man, after this conversation, I'm very excited. I'll be keeping an eye on you guys. Really exciting stuff coming from your end. So we'll be looking forward to the future.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for having me. And also, again, thank you for actually putting all this stuff on the spot. I think it's very important to create a lot more content and just make sure that builders feel featured and just continue highlighting them.
Let's go. Love it. We'll do. Give people a quick call to action. Where can they keep up with you, follow you? How can they get involved in the platform, protocol, etc.?
Well, you can follow me at @Conejo Capital. You can keep up with Clapam on @ClapamTech. Also, go follow my co-founder. He's also amazing. He's great. At Tommy204. Just keep up with us and stay in touch. Just DM me if you ever want to deploy something on Clapam.
You're the man. Well, we got your contact here, and we will keep it going, man. Love it. Peace. See you, Bunny.
Have a good one.
All right, Bunny. Take care.
Bye.
Dude, I think I might have to experiment with Claude Pump.
Yeah.
I've been running these agentic trading experiments. I think I might have to run another one with Claude Pump. I think it might be a little bit more complex, but it provides, it like gives you a little bit more control, over, just customizability is really what it comes down to, I think. But I think it's worth digging into. So I might dive in research mode on this one again, guys. So if you see me on this, don't be surprised. But this is a great interview.
Great. You know how the saying goes, man. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. 65 million in total volume. They're keeping 1%. I mean, when he said, yeah, we've done 640K rev in the last 2 months, I mean, annualize that out, right? Annualize that out. It's insane. Of course, 65 goes back to agents. So the margins on this are like 35%, maybe closer to 30%, considering that they pay for gas and some of this other stuff. But still 30% margins on 1% of all this trading volume, which is 65 million, is very impressive. When he said that, I'm like, all right, start paying attention.
Yeah.
This could be huge. So again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. People are experimenting on this. 2,749 agents have been funded, and they've already received 2,366 SOL back from the protocol. So yeah, Jill, you should definitely experiment a little bit. Clearly, people prefer this over other alternatives. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be digging into this pretty heavily. Guys, hope you guys enjoyed that interview. If you're just joining us for the first time, perhaps you're from the Claw Pump community. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to MCG. We do interviews like this where we highlight real builders in the space. We do these interviews all the time throughout the week. We're here Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We're covering the markets. We're covering majors, Bitcoin, on-chain, Base, Solana. We're covering AI, privacy, anything that moves, that breathes, that any narrative that comes up in this market, you'll likely hear about it here on MCG, and we'll definitely bring in the builders that are building within that niche, so that way you can hear from them yourself, and we can get some of your questions answered, and as well get some questions of our own answered as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. We do these types of interviews all the time. You want to go to our Twitter at MCG Live to keep up with all of the MCG related content, clips from the streams. We have MCG exclusives where founders may drop interviews or drop information in the stream. We also have weekly schedules that come out every weekend. Next week we have a banger schedule, so we invite all of you guys back for that as well. Man, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like every week we're like, man, next week's schedule is a banger, because it really is.
Should I give a sneak peek of the schedule?
Sneak peek it, bro. Sneak peek it for our audience.
I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of the schedule here. We just had Claw Pump on. Now he mentioned Squire, who's in the ecosystem. They're coming on 1:15 on the 27th. So Monday's Memorial Day, no stream. We got days off. It's a bank holiday as well, so you guys take some time to spend with the loved ones. But next week, man, Tuesday is our robotics day. So we got Strike Robotics coming on to start off the show at 12 o'clock. We got Kodak coming on right after that at 12:30, which, Chill's a big fan of. And then we have Deuce coming on, which is Maquina, is hard to pronounce, but that's in the Peak ecosystem. We know Peak is all about robotics now. Coming on after that at 1:15, they have a TG on May 27th. So we got a sweet robotics day Tuesday. We know that's an emerging market and trend. After that, back to base, we got Aeon coming on. Banger. Same day, we got Squire coming on. Banger. Of course, Bunny just gave them the shout out. Back to base here, we got Lick coming on, Liquid Launcher, which is the de-impaired launches on base. We got Serve coming on the following day.
Serve's a banger.
Serve's a banger, as you guys know, with Opal, who has also won the Pump Fun Hackathon. They're coming on for that. We got Origin Trail, which is a just long-standing legendary product in the game here. And then BB7X, who was a shout-out from our other conversation, who's doing a lot of trading stuff on base. Banger. That's a little sneak peek of the schedule. We're going to send that out on Sunday, potentially make some adjustments to it, add some new people. But you're right, Jill. Every week just gets like no lack of heat. That's for sure.
Yeah, no lack of it, man. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it all. So just a little outline for the rest of the stream. Again, welcome to all the new viewers. So we'll touch on some just kind of on-chain action, right? We'll go to Solana. We'll talk about some setups over there, utility, meme coins. Then we'll go over to Base. And we'll talk about some setups there. A ton of projects, like we just mentioned, some coming on our show next week. That there's a lot to discuss. A lot that's popping off. And to kind of top it off, we'll just start with very selective 1 or 2 majors to talk about. Not much has changed on the majors since we last addressed these, but I think there's 1 or 2 things happening there that we can quickly address. But yeah, excited for next week, Dom.
Sweet. Yeah, me too. Looking forward to it. Guys, enjoy your weekend too. I'm probably going to bounce shortly, let Chill kind of run the rest of the Trader Radio and go over what he's looking at. Let me see if I have anything saved that I want to cover real quick, because there was some interesting stuff. Like Near, could you pull up a Near chart and see how that's looking? Near is getting attention.
Literally, that's the first major that I want to discuss. Literally the first thing that I want to talk about. We saw, Ansem kind of come out and address that as well. So yeah, this is the tweet there that they touched on. Maybe we can start there and then I can show the chart.
Okay, cool. I also have the Ansem clip pulled up. So we'll touch on this tweet, pull up the chart, and then I'll get the Ansem clip running. Near protocol, confidential payments are live on near.com. Of course, simply put, we know the privacy narrative is huge. As you can see, Zcash is like at all-time highs. Alex just sent 0.1 ETH to Ethereum Foundation from his Near balance. The chain doesn't see who sent that. The Ethereum Foundation just got ETH on Ethereum. Boom. Just like that. Private, confidential. With that being said, Jill, take it. I'll pull up the Ansem conversation.
Dude, here's the chart. So let's just start top down. I mean, on the for the last few years, I mean, Near has literally just kind of been not doing much. It did a little something back in 2024, about 2 years ago almost, and it's since putting in that high in March 24, it's kind of just been going down. I saw Market Watcher even kind of put a falling wedge on this chart, but I don't think I'm going to put a falling wedge on it. But yeah, I mean, as you go down into lower time frames, the weekly, and I think really the 3-day puts it into perspective. But we basically this price that we've been at here, basically price has been capped under a buck 75, call it. It's been capped there for months and months and months. In fact, I would even say on a much larger time frame, like the weekly, it's been capped below $3 for months and months and months, right? So there's a lot going on here. On the Near chart, it's now up since putting in a bottom back in February. It's now up just about almost 200%, about 176% right now off the bottom. So making some real moves. I actually longed this real quick last night. I just longed the breakout real quick, made a nice little scalp trade on that. But I'm looking for a more like high time frame, like longer hold on Near. So here's the plan real quick. We've just broken out of like on the weekly or on the 3-day. You can see that we're kind of like shifting, right? We've put in a high back in January and we have not been able to break that high until now, almost 5 months later, basically. So what I'm going to look for here is for a new high to form, right? To make a higher high in the shift in trend and market structure. And then I'm going to look for a higher low, right? So let's say maybe the higher high is here. I'm going to look for a higher low to form somewhere here. And this will kind of be my new trading range, hopefully. And then I'll look to get long somewhere around the higher low. That's the trading plan. I just need, we don't know obviously where the higher highs, the higher lows will form just yet. What I do know though, is that, I just need price action to develop, market to give me the ranges. And this is going to take time. This is on the 3-day, right? So this is going to take time, maybe a week or two to play out. But we're going to be monitoring this price action. Just 6 months ago, we talked about ZEC, right? We talked about Zcash when it broke out of this just a few months ago, not 6, but back in March when it broke out. We kind of said, hey, look, it's time to pay attention. And now we're up, much we're up much higher than that. So in the same vein, I'm saying, hey, look, we're breaking out of a key range here on Near. I'm going to start monitoring this price action and we're going to keep track of it here live on stream. So
you know what, Joe? I gotta give ourselves some credit here. We don't call out a lot of majors, right? We're very on-chain, trench focused. The few we have called out, it's like Hype, Zcash. I mentioned Grass a while back. We talked about Solana a good bit. We've got like the hit rate's kind of going crazy here. There's not a lot of majors that are running, and like the few that we've really covered and kind of put the farm on have done incredibly well.
Literally, I think, so for anyone that doesn't know, Josh, he converted all of his ETH to all of his ETH to Hype back here around $25, and that's been a quality trade for him.
Great trade.
Zach, obviously, we just talked about that. Now we're talking about, there's two things that I want to put on your attention, give your attention to. Near was one of them. Another one to put on your radar is Ton. I think Telegram is actually going to be another key one here. Obviously, there's this major swing high that we still need to shoot for, just below 380. But we kind of made this this lower time frame market shift down here, right? Like the market is shifting to make some of these higher highs, and same trading plan that went into that applied for Near applies to here too. So we made this. Let me take some of this stuff out the way here real quick for you guys, so you can kind of see this a lot clearly.
And now we've talked about Ton in the past. We talked about this when they really got picked up again, and the Telegram CEO started picking up, shilling it, talking about the iterations, the growth he's going to be doing to it. The thing is, its market cap, it's already a top, it's top 20. It's got a 10 billion fully diluted market cap. It's got a 5 billion circulating. It's pretty, it's already pretty big. So it is a growth investment that you're making here. Hey, are they going to take this, make it into a big thing, deeply integrate Ton into Telegram and get access to that bootstrap community? Does he kind of try to compete on the level of Solana, which I guess that would kind of be where Ton could go, is like a Solana competitor for retail. If so, yeah, it probably reprices, but that's the bet, because it is really expensive right now. So again, any feedback on that, or do you think, what's the investment thesis here? Is okay, potentially it can grow really big if they really take this and just go all in with it and try to be the next competing Solana with retail and be the chain of the people, or is 5 billion here, 5.25 billion in this market pretty overvalued considering their revenues and numbers, which have increased since they've made this change?
Well, Ansem actually recently came out with a tweet that talked about this a little bit, and I'll pull it up for you guys here in a second. But basically what he said was, he said that Near protocol, and this is, I know we're talking about Ton, but you'll see where this comes in. Near protocol is at the same circulating market cap as Solana was back when it was about $20, right before it went to 200, right? And so at the same time, you have, the stock market that is literally putting in, billions, tens of billions, moving tens of billions every single day, right? And they're on the stock market side, they're moving multiple of Bitcoin's market caps daily on some of these runners. So the capital, to my point, is the capital to move markets is out there. It's just a matter of attracting that to specifically Ton, specifically to crypto, specifically to Near, Solana, and all these other things. But what we're now seeing very, very clearly, and I can't find that tweet by Ansem, by the way. Maybe I have to kind of search it a little bit. But basically what we're seeing now is here's the tweet right here. Got it. Here's the tweet.
And for comparison, here's Solana at 50 billion market cap, 54 billion fully diluted versus 5 billion for Ton.
And what's Hype? What's Hype circulating right now?
Hype just flipped Solana in terms of fully diluted, but again, that doesn't even matter. People that say that are, it's kind of ridiculous, because it's all going to get burnt out. There's not going to be emissions based on their buybacks. So don't even worry about the fully diluted value of Hype. Hype's at 15 bill. So Ton
15 bill.
Ton is 5. Hype is 15. I still feel like there's more upside in Hype.
Oh, absolutely.
Compared to Ton.
There is,
Potentially, I don't know.
there definitely is, right? There definitely is. But let me show you guys this tweet here. Boom, boom. So here it is. Current circulated market cap of Hyperliquid is about the same as Solana's market cap when it traded at $20 in October of 2023 before going to 200 in less than 6 months. And so again, the capital is out there to drive prices. I mean, Hype just came up from a couple billy where Ton is now, and is now at 15 bill where it's at, right? And if we look at literally all of these charts that we look at on a daily basis, I mean, if you look at, you look at the hypes of the world, the Zeks of the world, you look at the Pengus that even Pengu's breaking out. You look at Jupiter. Jupiter's gonna looking pretty good. Even some other ones like Ondo. Ondo's looking really well. Sui is also another one that's showing strength. A lot of these are moving. We're seeing appetite for these assets. That's the point, right? Because how do you get $20 to go to 200 on a multi-billion-dollar asset already? You literally need a bunch of capital coming into the market, and we're seeing early signs of that with things like with all these tokens popping off. So I think we can get there for Ton. I'm not saying it can go to 60, 80, 100 bill, right? Like maybe it only goes to 15, 20, 25 bill market cap. It doesn't need to be, but when you're
3x, 2, 3, 4x.
Yeah, it's a liquid 2, 3x. Or if we're trading leverage, you can spot out some of these. Look, evil eye.
So it could actually be a 10x.
It could be because if we're trading strong assets that are showing strength against the overall direction of the market, or maybe even amplifying their gains based on the market direction, outperforming things like Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. If there are assets that are doing that and they're showing pretty obvious setups, I mean, why not, right? Like we see this, we see Ton is kind of having this shift. It's made a new local high. It looks like it's trying to form a new local low. This kind of becomes our new range, and literally we just look for a little opportunity here, right there. So I mean, there are setups to be had. I mean, you want to keep it simple, just buy spot. But for me, if you are longing stuff like ZEC, you're longing. I mean, we called out a few things on ZEC. We called out this SFP down here on Hype. We called out this falling wedge. We called out this SFP on the 2-day right here. Like some of these obvious setups, you can easily play for like really, really nice gains. Right. And obviously you need to be a little bit more surgical with your entry and how you're playing these when you're using stuff like leverage. But yeah, I mean, again, always good to continue to look at what assets are trying to outperform the market. Right now, off the back of Hype and ZEC, I'm seeing Near Protocol. I'm seeing Ton also want to, make those kind of moves.
Yeah, I'll even add to this kind of conversation here. I think we're at an inflection point. For 5 years, we've seen no alt season. 5 years plus, we've seen no alt season. These alts, these majors are beaten down. They're bruised. And there's a very, very small subset that have kept building and are now even flipping on fee switches or doing things that are innovative, like Ton, like Jupiter, like ZEC, like Hyperliquid. And it seems like we're at an inflection point. And we know a rising tide lifts all ships. And we know how the money cycle works, right? You go from high caps to mid caps to low caps to on-chain. It's very simple trickle down effect as people kind of go down that risk curve. And it does. It feels like we're at this inflection point where some of the good ones that are innovating and still here and turning on fee switches and adding new features to it, just like we saw with Near, right, are starting to pop off and break out of this range and break out of this 5-year downtrend that they've been beaten down. And they're potentially even sitting below fair value just because people have left crypto. They're overlooking it and not paying attention. So same thing we say for things on chain is actually happening at a much higher level as well. So I'm in the boat where we're at this inflection point, and you could start positioning in these majors that are innovating, doing different things, because we are going to see that trickle down effect and the rising tide effect of Hype going to all-time highs, ZEC going to all-time highs. People are going to start catching on. You don't want to be the guy that joins once 5 more things go and rip to all-time highs. You want to be the guy that gets in early and you spot the trend. We're spotting the trend. It's very clear. And so things like near popping off a cool little update here shows us that they're starting to become this appetite. So get in the ship while the tide's rising, and you can hopefully lift up with it. So potentially positioning it on near all this stuff is interesting right here after 5 years of being beat down at all-time lows, rock bottom, because they can revive out of nowhere. Again, look at Zach, right?
You know what really excites me though? When we look at things like, because Hype and Zach was really just kind of like round one, right? Just two. Obviously, Hype has had a thesis for a while. I think Hype has always been an outperformer of the market for a long, long time. We saw Zach starting to show signs, but slowly more and more of these majors are showing signs, Nair being one of them. And I think Nair is a really good example of where we are with most altcoins. Look at the historical price action. All-time high is all the way up here at $20. We're sitting at $2. So we're near 10x away from all-time high. We're only what, 175% off the bottom, 165% off the bottom. From here, we still have almost 10x to go until all-time high. And that's just all-time high. What if we now go into price discovery? It's a whole different ball game, right? So it's really like these are very, very early innings. Very, very early innings, because I'm thinking the same for Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid, we see that, all right, cool. It's now up, a couple X's off the bottom, call it like 3-4X off the bottom, actually huge move, but we aren't even in price discovery yet. We've made a marginally new high, but what happens if Hype is going to $200?
People forget what price discovery looks like on majors, man. It's been so long. Just thinking back to the glory days, you could blindly throw a thing at a dartboard. If this was in price discovery, it's going 10x. Or in other cases, like Matic and go down the list, 100x, 200x, 500x. Like, it was stupid. Price discovery was really just like, I mean, you'd have a 3, 4, 5 month stretch where things just went up without a single dip, 10x, 20x, 50x. Man, I would love to see that again. You're right. This is a great point though, Chill. Like, we're just now tickling the line of price discovery here with Hype. We're tickling that line with Zach as well. Nothing else is really even,
And hear me out. I mean, that's just 2 out of how many tokens that we have to choose from that are doing well. Not to mention all of the countless new all the countless low caps that are about to be high caps, right? Like the countless on-chain, I mean, the Hermes OS of the world, the Litcoins of the world, the cards of the world, like all of these things, the Cludes, the Opals, all these things. Like, things are just now getting started, and I'm struggling here because I want to say on Bitcoin I still have the sub 60K target, and I'm struggling to hold on to it. I'm still holding strong, but I'm struggling because, man, the market looks like it wants to freaking rip. It looks like it wants to go crazy. It just needs for Bitcoin to cooperate. I mean, I would much rather
been down in this range though for 105 days. Like, Bitcoin has held strong in this range since that capitulation following 1010 on the 2nd of February. 2nd of February. We've held strong for 100 days, which is nice to see. It is a change of character based on the other times we've kind of traded sideways. This is sustained a lot longer.
What if we do something like this?
The serves, the VVVs,
the serves of the world. Yes, the serves of the world.
VVVs.
The Nox, the pods, the VVVs.
I mean, dude, infinite list.
Yeah.
Infinite list. There's so many good opportunities that are just waiting for attention. Again, we've told you it's a sleepy market. It's not like there aren't good projects. People just aren't doing the research. People just aren't bidding things. There's no demand. And which is why you go on Base. And when you look at Base, everything has gone from like nothing to 10, 15, 20 million overnight. And it's the established projects that do it. Now the tourists are coming in. We're seeing the new stuff. Open Human come in and rug all this bullshit. But the truth is, time in the market is much more important than timing the market. And you can see the projects that have been in for a while, grinded through, just like Claw Pump. We had Claw Pump up earlier, on stream today. They were bottomed out and they've just been slowly grinding up. And it's probably one of the things that does really well when the bull market takes back up. I also have this near thesis by Ansem queued up, so we can play that whenever you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead and actually play it right now.
Okay. Here's the near thesis by Ansem. We don't typically sit on majors this much, but like this is a paradigm shift right now that's going on. So here's Ansem's take on near.
So near is focusing on like the two areas in crypto that are getting attention: privacy, and also AI. And they like the guy Eli said is cracked in AI. He was before even being involved with this. He also was involved with some actually core research for AI just in general. So one of the theses around near is it being a platform for agents to transact on. And one of the reasons it's so important is because, as we know, KYC, like know your customer laws, make it really difficult for AI agents to transact on traditional rails, because like all of the banking laws that exist are tailored for humans. And so like as we're rewriting the systems of how we're going to transact on a day-to-day basis, crypto obviously is one of the platforms that's going to be able to benefit agents, because you don't need a KYC to transact on blockchains. So near is focusing on like the two areas in crypto that are getting attention: privacy, and also AI. And they like the guy Eli said is cracked in AI. He was before even.
Okay. This is reset. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's the thesis. Near's an AI/privacy play, and this is the chain people are going to build on. I need to do more personal digging. This is the thing for me. Like, I don't do a lot of DD in majors, which is ironic because I'll do like sleuthing deep analytical research on analytical research on these low caps. But then for these majors, I kind of just like sit back, vibe with like general thesis and fundamentals. But I do need to dig into near more, get some of the numbers, kind of see growth. Have agents been using near, or is this totally like early stage? The idea is that privacy is big. Agents will use blockchain. Near is kind of going to be that answer. And of course, if that is, you can sell a story. We've seen it a million times in crypto, selling a story. Or does it actually have traction? I think is a whole different question. If it has traction, well, now you have a story and you have kind of proof of concept here, proof of work. So that could be powerful. I need to, of course, find this out for myself. So
Jesus. Well, that's a really great thesis on near protocol. Jesus. I now have the proper mic selected, so hopefully my voice is actually coming through a lot clearer than it was. Anywho, guys, so yeah, I mean, look, not to, again, just like Dom said, we don't really usually like hover so long on majors, but I think this was a conversation worth having. But I'm ready to jump on chain whenever you're ready.
TLDR, start positioning, start paying attention. Things are popping off. They've been depressed for 5+ years. We've been so diligent about preserving our capital, being so picky and selective. Now, still be picky and selective, but TLDR is things are starting to pop off. Narratives are starting to form. People are interested again. You're still early, and potentially buy majors. Rising tide lifts all ship. All right, Jill, maybe jump into on chain. I'm going to leave you to it for this one. Let you thug it out with the boys, and I'm going to get out, I think, for a nice night of drinking. So,
last question for you, bro. Real quick, low time frame Bitcoin target. Are we going up or down from here?
I don't think we go below this range. I still stand tall with that. Now, again, I'll say it like it is. I called the exact bottom the day of the bottom on Bitcoin. The day of the bottom of Bitcoin, I said this is a bottom. Capitulations happened. We've come back into a range that's really interesting, where we've had accumulation in the past. This is in the past where smart money has stepped in. We've crossed that chasm of mining profitability, as well as the average Bitcoin buy price. So there's a few things kind of pointing to this number, as well as the just capitulation that clearly happened on this day. I still think we maybe test into the range a little bit, but I think at this point we have kind of broken out. I'm seeing a change of character here. Fundamentally, Bitcoin's price action is acting different. There's not a ton of demand up at these high levels, but there's also not a ton of supply coming in like we've seen in the past, where when you kind of go and fill this fair value gap, as you say, or kind of make this move up in a downtrend, you want to see supply really step in and show that it's in control. It's not doing that right now. Look at the spread on these candles. They're very small. So I do think we're showing more strength than weakness for Bitcoin. And I think fundamentally we're at a level that just makes a lot of sense to be a bottom at. Also, for my 4-year cyclers, you can go and check this yourself. Every single 4-year cycle has been front ran 1 month prior to the last. Last cycle, there was a front run. Cycle before that, or last cycle, there was a front run of the last cycle. The last cycle before that, there's a front run of the previous cycle. And so every time we get this 4 years shrinks to, 3 years, 10 months, 3 years, 9 months, 3 years, 8 months. We're seeing that for both tops and bottoms. Okay. So I think the same thing's going to happen. Of course, the market is forward looking. People are smart, sophisticated. I think Bitcoin's getting front ran. I still think bottoms in. Maybe we get one more dip. I just don't think many more people need to get flushed out. I think generally crypto is at all-time lows. No one's interested in it. The market in equities is going infinitely up. So these outsized returns that drew in the crowds and retail for crypto aren't here right now. And until we get that, that's when the crypto is going to start, the collective of retail is going to start coming in. And we're just not seeing that yet. So I think the tourists are gone. We're left here with the real ones. We're seeing the bankless guys capitulate. We're seeing pump funds swap to USDC, not just SOL, or make it optional. I think we have a lot of bottom signals. So I'm under the impression that bottom's in. Stick by my thesis. Hasn't wavered. Maybe we do a dip, but around this range, if you turn on the DCA, I think you're generally going to be happy in 1, 2, 3, 4 years from now. All right.
100%. 100%. All right, bro. Well, enjoy your long weekend. Appreciate the closing thoughts.
Yes. How do we by the way, we're playing around with stream layout. I'm just doing these minor gradual adjustments. Got the Collector Crypt down there. Shout out Collector Crypt sponsoring the show. Shout out them flying us out, getting us out to Miami not flying us out. I live right by Miami, but getting us out to Miami to do, accelerate, all good stuff. How do you like the new layout? Do you like the bottom kind of giving us context of what we're talking about, right? This is a market update. When we had Mur on, we had the, Mur on. Do we like this stuff? Are we feeling it? Do we like the big square? Is it stupid? Does it look like a child made it? Or need the feedback? Does the moving stuff at the bottom not fit?
We're making tweaks, man. We're making tweaks, trying to, get the show quality up as much as we can. So just give us some feedback. Let us know. I mean, it's almost 1,100 of you guys in here. So yeah, just let us know. Let us know let us know your thoughts. Dom's been putting in work. Ooh.
Handsome.
Appreciate
Daddy Dusters. Layout sick professional. Okay, that's all. On that note, I'm out of here. Good. Do you like the scrolling bar on the bottom, or is it too much? Do we prefer this? Right, where there's no.
Nah, I like
bar.
the scrolling. I like the scrolling at the bottom a little.
I think the context is nice, right?
Yeah. I like that.
Too.
I like that.
All right, we're sticking with it.
Hey, we're cooking. We're cooking here, guys. We're cooking here.
Dude, wait till Chill pumps out this Discord, bro. He's gonna make a generational Discord. We're gonna make a generational Discord, but Chill's really leading that up. It's gonna be lit,
bro. So speaking of that, I actually have guys chat. I got a meeting on that here in a little bit. So let's get to on chain and let's get this done. Dom, the homie, appreciate you. Love the scrolling, helps with the attention spans. Yeah. Definitely does. All right, guys. Yeah. So I just kind of drew this line out for fun. Sometimes I wonder if we're just going to do something like this where we attempt something for the top of this larger range, because that's really what this is here. If we were to hit it just hit it like that, actually just hit it like that, bang. So if we actually were to look at it like this is like the weekly range. Sometimes I'm like, man, do we just go for the top of this range before actually capitulating? So that's why I drew that out, but not actually calling that out, just kind of watching. All right, let's get back into on-chain, guys. Let's see what we got going. Let's see what we got. All right, so let's start with base, shall we? By the way, if you guys have any projects that you want to look at, anything that you want me to go over, touch on, I got a lot to go through here, and I'm gonna try to get through this as much as as much as humanly possible. But let's see here. Let's go to multi-charts. As you can see, base, like, coming off a nice little pump. Repo going crazy, Litcoin going crazy. We saw Hermes OS go crazy,
Dude,
along with a few others. Yeah,
gotta bump on here to say this. TCG, who we have on the show, I haven't even read it yet, but it looks like they just put out a ace believers round situation. So maybe dig into that, because of course, the thesis of all these pump fund hackathon winners is many of them are going to go down the ace round. Part of Klude's big narrative here is that they're going and raising right now. They're doing really great with growth, and they probably do an ace round here and seek further funding. Also working with regulatory bodies. Blah blah blah. Yap. Check out the TCG update, but still going to leave. Sorry.
Send me that link and check your DM. All right, bye, Dom. GG's. Yeah. So we see that base is. They've been doing really well. I mean, a lot of stuff has been going crazy. We've talked about repo ad nauseum, right? So we talked about that. That's pulling back, coming into a nice little area. I mean, price has kind of been like capped. Let's call it at like, kind of this level here. Price has been kind of capped at that level for below this level for a pretty long time, and it's finally broken above that level. And even if we just take some of this stuff away, we can probably see it even more clearly. So here's the bottom of the range in green, top of the range in red, or at least the old range anyway. And then now, obviously not the cleanest price action, but you can kind of generally see the idea. And then now we've broken out of the range there, and now we're coming to retest the top of the range. So it could be, if you're not already in repo, it could be a really good place to get involved. We saw that they had some, their metrics continue to be pretty good. Still doing a lot of great things, seeing a lot of things happen as far as ecosystem is concerned, user acquisition is concerned, all these things. A lot of that stuff is going really, really well. Okay, so there's that. What else do we have? Here? We have Litcoin coming back to an area of interest. We actually had Litcoin on the show. We actually might have them come back on the show at some point soon. So kind of expectations here for Litcoin will be kind of bouncing around in this area of support before going back up. So I think we have a lot of time here to kind of accumulate. So again, if you missed out on kind of what I'm calling the first leg of the base season, then there's potentially an area to get involved here, and that's what we're seeing across the board, right? We're seeing a lot of charts that have gone up, and a lot of them are starting to cool off, essentially. So definitely something to take note of there. Hermes OS. We were talking about Hermes yesterday, and Crypto Jones. I don't know if you remember. You were kind of asking me about this, but I basically told you guys that, hey, look, we're retesting a key area down here, and so Hermes OS. It's obviously, it has that kind of VVV adjacent narrative to it. So definitely something worth keeping an eye on as well as we get closer to again, the next leg of base season. But obviously we see some pretty strong demand coming in here for Hermes OS. Actually, I think I might have some additional information on Hermes real quick. Let me dive into my on-chain alpha here. Let's see. And I think I had something for Hermes. Let me see something for Hermes. Where you at, Hermes? Here we go. So here's like a bit of a few posts that I bookmarked, because I wanted to make sure I came on stream to show you guys all of this. Let's see. Router. I just had it. Where'd you go, Hermes? Here you go. Boom. So this is, this was posted, back, 2 days ago. But the highest conviction beta play on VVV, the decentralized AI inference layer, sitting at 800 million, zero retention, uncensored model, staking that drives cost to zero. Voorhees back. The agent economy is pricing this in. Hermes at 1.3 million market cap, which is, I think about the same. I think 1.5, 1.6. Hermes OS at 1.3 mil is the quite cheap, I would say, as the biggest friction in the agent flywheel right now is self-hosting. Hermes OS solves it. 2-minute deploy of Hermes agent, the #1 open source agent by inference volume at 271 billion tokens per day. Persistent memory browser control, one-click deployment via the Venice AI, the Venice API. No DevOps, so easier for the common user. Hermes OS deploy, Venice private inference, on-chain execution via Banker on Base. Venice team is engaged. Hermes OS is leading open router ranking. So obviously there's a lot going on with this. They have a lot of things coming as well in the roadmap. They have agent templates, revenue share, paid APIs, shared learning network, and a lot of other things coming. So there's a lot to take into consideration here when it comes to Hermes OS. That was one of the first posts that I actually had in mind. Another here was this Chijaka. If you guys don't follow him, he's a great follow, good research. This week will be all about Hermes, and this was posted, I believe, a little bit ago. Yeah, 4 days ago on the 18th. He says Hermes OS took the lead from OpenClaw being the biggest open source agent model. So that's why this whole narrative around Hermes has kicked off in the first place. Hermes coin on Sol is starting to run. Base utility plays on Hermes are spawning. Elon interacting with posts mentioning Hermes and some retweeting Hermes posts. Huge ventures tweeting about Hermes. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement around this. So again, when you see there being all of this, and granted, some of this was on the 18th, right? Some of this happened back here. Some of these posts are back here on the 20th, but obviously when these types of charts pull back, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff here that can actually happen once these types of projects come to support levels. Obviously, this one came back to a key area of support, but with that backdrop that I just outlined through those posts, that's why there is so much demand. So just wanted to highlight a few things for you guys there on Hermes. Ooh, look at Nook. I've been waiting for Nook to give us a nice little dip. I got some levels marked out here. Would love to see 3 mil on Nook. This was a key range before. We kind of just melted through that range. So not really sure how much of that range, really qualifies to act as support and resistance, but that's why I kind of marked out the fib here. I would love a retest of like sub 3 mil, like this 0.786. This is like literally what I would love to see on the Nook price action. And let me actually delete that. This is what I would love to see, kind of price come down, bang, bang, before reversing. And this is the area of interest right here, around that support level, but definitely around that 0.786 level, because I think Nook is going to be pretty much one of the top, it's one of the top AI projects, I believe, on Base. I think it can do very, very well. So we'll see how things go there. But again, I'll keep monitoring the situation and I'll keep looking for an entry. So that's Nook. Another one here is LFI. We've been waiting on LFI to dip, and it literally has not dipped at all. Still got the pivot entry here marked out with the golden pocket. We've barely retested the pivot entry, but gonna keep monitoring it. There was something that came out. There's something that came out about LFI. I believe there was a thread or something like that that came out about him. So let's take a look at that real quick. LFI founder owns a 2015 patent on tax lien pricing and fractionalization, 15 years plus in the asset class, 5 years of fund infrastructure underneath. Y'all ain't ready. Looks like they put out, some stuff here. There was actually recently a thread that came out as well, and I think this is the one that I wanted to show you guys. Yes. LeanFi early access update. This week, we added another measured cohort of early access users to the platform. We're not opening access all at once. The marketplace is being rolled out deliberately. The reason is simple. The infra is being built to support millions in RWA transactions. Tax liens and redeemable deeds are not points, rewards, or synthetic yield. They are statutory claims tied to real property. And that's the part about this that I love. This is connection to real assets. This week, we also continue hardening marketplace security, working on the light paper, mapping LFI integrations, and improving the UI based on feedback from early testers. So that's basically what they had. In the thread, they also outlined Florida tax liens were the first step. Texas redeemable deeds are the next major asset type. This week, we reached agreement in principle for the first batch of Texas assets, allowing us to begin tokenization process. So obviously, there are things happening here for LeanFi. And so that's why we want to keep an eye on it. I'm assuming updates like this is the reason why it hasn't really dipped meaningfully at all. So yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on this one here and just kind of chill on it and see what happens. But some great updates coming out from LeanFi. Great founder, early access to, basically a niche that crypto has never really ventured in before. And to see that they're actually building out solid integrations and things of that nature with the token, that's also pretty good to see. So that's LeanFi. What else do we have here? Serve, obviously, Serve is still doing really, really well. Really loving what the Serve price action on that one. That's been a big one that I've been paying attention to. I'm paying attention to this Ward protocol, but I don't know which token. I wanted to show you guys this. It's called Ward protocol, and I don't know if y'all seen it or not, but I saw it, and I'm still kind of waiting. They said they're coming out with a token. They said they're coming out with a token, but I haven't seen a token yet. So I'm kind of stuck in a holding pattern here. Let me actually talk a little bit about this one real quick. All right, so here is the Ward kind of summary, right? And this is this is it. Warden protocol. Essentially, it's one of the VVV co-founders. Kind of, this is like, now their new venture, essentially. And let me see here. They're trading on Binance Smart Chain, but this post right here, we see that they're coming to Base now. So, all right. The AI agent network with 15 million users and a NASA scientist. Warden is building the full stack infra layer for agents for the agentic economy, starting with user distribution rather than developer tools. The Warden app is the everything app for crypto, giving 15 million users access to 20 plus AI models to perform all different kinds of on-chain tasks across major blockchains. Warden Studio enables any builder, including no-code vibe coders, to launch an AI agent in under a minute with on-chain identity, stablecoin payments, per inference billing, subscription, ERC 8004 for identity, X402 for agentic payments. So obviously, this is a pretty it's a crypto AI niche project. Okay, there's a little bit of information on the team. Is a team that scaled Uber and Binance to hundreds of millions of users, now applying that distribution playbook to AI agents with 15 million live users, a 4-component full stack and proof of inference on-chain accountability, the most overlooked infrastructure play in the DeFi category. or does an unlimited token supply, 62.7% all-time high decline, and thin liquidity confirm that user counts don't automatically translate to token value. So obviously there's like a lot here to dig into. That's just the first piece for Ward. Another piece that I wanted to show you guys was this. I think Ward might be one of the most interesting AI projects. That obviously this is the tweet. This isn't me talking, but shout out Dindoes. He does really good research. Most AI inference today runs on blind trust, but autonomous agents they're already trading capital. So the question is, how do you verify the computation actually happened? And that's where Warden comes in. It's basically the BitTorrent for AI inference, a peer-to-peer compute marketplace where idle GPUs, Mac minis, Olama nodes, and self-hosted agents serve inference across a global mesh network. So there's a lot more, technical stuff that it gets into. The other piece, though, that I wanted to highlight was that Ward, the token, becomes a value capture layer through automatic buybacks, staking rewards, and token burns. Users pay in USDC and operators earn in USDC. So obviously they're not needing to earn the token to sell it. They're earning in actual stable coins. And then there's just a sort of like value capture layer for the Ward token itself. There's actually Jeter Griffin. Yeah. He actually outlines some stuff here as well. Maybe not in this post, but there's another post that Jeter Griffin had that basically talked about, the transition that the co-founder made. That there's a co-founder of, and I think was it this? Let me see here. I believe it was this, if I'm not mistaken, though. Let me see. Yes, here it is. Sized. Oh, shout out Sized In, bro. Oh man, I didn't know that they posted about this. All right, so Ward, the co-founder of Venice and Warden founder Stealth Launch Based AI. No one is talking about it right now at the moment. Based AI. Da 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 da. But this is more so talking about Based AI. But obviously, as you can see, the co-founder of Venice. So that's a part of the thesis about this is that the co-founder of Venice also kind of like, pivoted and is now moving on to a new venture, which is this. But again, still waiting on the token. So I'm just following the account and then I'll see, I'll see what else comes out. But figured I'd put that on you guys' radar. Let's see. I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else base wise that you guys want to cover. I think I saw Instaclaw pumping today. So, Instaclaw here caught a little measly, a little pump. It was a nice little run over the last 2x today, but over the last couple of weeks, over the last week or two, it's done pretty well there. What else do we see? What else do we see? I think that's it for my base plays. Let's go over to the utility side. So on the utility side for Solana, just a few. I mean, we've talked about Kodak. We just talked about Kodak yesterday. We talked about PayAI yesterday. That's still sitting on the 0.786 on the retracement there. So could potentially be a great entry. I'm waiting on, let's see here. I'm waiting on Clued. I would love if Clued goes sub 2 mil for a nice little pullback. We saw that it, kind of cooling off. Let me blow this up for you guys so you can see what I'm seeing here. So put it on the 4-hour. So as you can see here, we kind of went to the top of the range and we rejected off of that. And this is the pivot entry that I marked out on, I believe, was it the daily or the 12-hour? Yeah, it was on the daily. So a nice little pivot entry on the daily here. So this is kind of what I would love to see on the Clued. Call it just because I'm sidelined. You can say just because I'm sidelined, I kind of want to see something like this, but But yeah, no, Clued is actually doing really well. I'm actually loving just kind of getting back into the research vibe. We research and stuff for the show, but like in terms of my trading and stuff, I've just kind of slowed down a little bit. And then too, the last couple of weeks just being away from the market has also like affected my trading as well. So now that I'm kind of like coming back into the market, it's like my second day back full time. It's good to see that, you know, utility projects are of interest again. Like people are finding that interesting again. Base is actually holding its gains really well. Yes, some things are pulling back, but you're going to get that. You're going to get people that essentially you're going to get people that essentially want to take profits a little bit on some of these trades. So it's okay for these things to pull back. But it's good to see the gains are really out there to be had. But as far as Clued goes here, it's probably one of like the larger AI projects that we've had. I was really impressed by Clued during our first interview with them. So definitely something I want to keep in mind there, and just want to like keep tabs. I would love to see again if we go like bang and we just hit, we hit the pivot entry. So, we maybe hit something like this, hit, right like that, bang, hit the pivot entry, and then we start to grind our way out before going higher. And this is kind of the area for me that would be the most interesting on this chart right now. So some things looking good, just kind of waiting to see, what entries do we get out of some of these. Okay. So there's that. What else? What else do we have? We talked about Opal yesterday as well as today, so we don't need to revisit that one. Squire we have coming on next week. Man, what a chart. This chart looks absolutely amazing. Let me draw something out. I'm also sidelined on Squire. So just kind of looking at just generally the price action here. This was kind of the previous range here. So 0.786 would be nice, but I don't know if Squire takes that much of a dip. So we'll just have to see. I'll have some more research on that later on next week. Actually, let me notate that for you guys. I'll be sure to look into Squire a little bit for you guys, and then I'll come back on Monday with a nice thesis. I mean, look, we gotta wait. We gotta wait on the pullback anyway. So I'll wait to see what I find. I can share more on Monday. I think another one that we should go over. It's on another list, but TCG. I've been calling this one out the last week or so. Looks like they're also doing an ace round. Let me actually go to the market cap chart. This actually shows, yep. So this is what I called out here, was this tag of the support level confluent with the 0.886 that we've been recently kind of checking out and testing out on chain. It's actually worked really well. This would basically be the new pivot entry. If we do get a pullback, this would kind of be the area for it to pull back into if you're sidelined on this. So basically 2 mil market cap. But TCG is looking really good. Let's actually look at their whatchamacallit, their Twitter. And I believe actually Dom sent me the link for the ace round announcement. So let me pull that one up. And here we go. Ace Believer round following the collector group's pump fund building public hackathon win. We lead into our Ace Believer round using the MetalX CyberRaise on-chain platform. We announced the opportunity for dedicated large holders of our TCG token to exchange tokens for equity exposure to the collector group. So obviously we know what Ace is, right? It's that ability to convert your tokens to equity, right? It's that legal bridge, that framework that Pump Fund has kind of come out with recently. And honestly, it's looking pretty good. TCG absolutely looks amazing. And this is kind of the article that they came out with to touch on, that whole raise. So TCG looking amazing, especially from our call here. What was that, last week before? What else do we have? I think that's it for some of these. We talked about a lot already. Let's now look at memes. Let's see if there's any setups meme coin wise. What the dog doing is actually like doing very poorly right now, but that's fine. I think long term it should do okay. We talked about Bernie, this falling wedge, and it's looks like it's breaking out a little bit here. So we'll see how that plays out. Oh man, wow, please, bro. Kind of dumped off here into the 0.786. That was the token we were talking about earlier when Josh was on. Not much going on the meme side though. You guys let me know if there's anything that you're seeing that you think is worth highlighting. I guess this actually doesn't look too bad here. We have the we can even say the pivot entry could be here too. We can even say the pivot entry could be here, but yeah, like about the 0.786 on this chart on Goblin would be a great buy zone. So basically 8 mil market cap on Goblin would be a great buy. We talked about this kind of having the Sam Altman narrative with OpenAI, and there's a whole narrative around Goblin. There's a whole story behind it, but Sam Altman has been interacting and engaging with this narrative, and he's even coming out with potentially like a feature that could be called Goblin or whatnot. So we've seen like price really react to a lot of this news, and so yeah, just something to put on you guys' radar. And I think that's really it. That's really it. So I've been keeping you guys, I still got it. I'm going to put that one on the research list as well. ISO actually looks pretty solid. And I think, again, this is the only thing I know about this is it's a new DeFi primitive. But this is very well reported on from what I hear, from my contacts. So looking good there. So I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, not really much else to talk about. Oh yes, the last thing I wanted to talk about. As you guys can see, yesterday we talked about a Clutch, the mascot for the FIFA World Cup. That's now bounced up. It went almost 2x since our call yesterday. So keeping an eye on that one. Not much happening on ETH though. What is happening on ETH though is this here, Railgun. Railgun is, and this chart right now that I'm showing you is literally on the 3-day. So I can't do any better at making these candles more visible. But this one is actually up about almost 3x off the bottom here so far. But here's the whole thesis behind Railgun. Let me pull that one up for you guys real quick. The homie AJC, he's actually he's actually done really well at a nice little thesis, TLDR on Railgun. But he said Kohaku soon, massive distribution boost for Railgun. Added more for you, those of you who don't know, Kohaku is a wallet SDK built by the Ethereum Foundation that enables any EVM wallet to easily integrate privacy solutions such as Railgun. Kohaku will massively improve the privacy UX on Ethereum, making private transaction as simple as ever. The main hurdle to privacy adoption in crypto has always been UX. See what happened to Zec after Zodalap improved Zcash's UX. So I believe that Kohaku represents a meaningful catalyst for privacy on Ethereum. Just yesterday, the Ethereum Foundation shipped code for an alpha version, so that way they can integrate Railgun. Looks like Kohaku is once Kohaku is live, I firmly believe that Railgun will be one of the main beneficiaries. Railgun is already the top privacy protocol by revenue, and the Kohaku integration should give it a massive distribution advantage that will hopefully add multiples to its current metrics. Likewise, Rail will directly benefit as well. All revenue goes to Railgun Treasury, and 2% of the Treasury is distributed to stakers every 2 weeks. This means that 52% of the Treasury is distributed to the token holders every single year. That's actually a really great tokenomic structure there. I like that. I didn't know that before. Float is only 25% of the circulating supply. No hidden unlocks. Float is only 25% of the circulating supply. Very interesting. And as you can see here, this is kind of what this picture that we see right here is what put Railgun on our radar in the first place. It's the only reason why I had it up on the multi charts in my ETH season category. But Railgun, as you can see, one of the top privacy protocols by fees. And so definitely something noteworthy there. And it looks like summer sounds nice. Fingers crossed. So it looks like, this catalyst will be for the summer. So Railgun could be, one of those ones you just kind of accumulate for the summer. I'm really not expecting a good summer ahead. I know a lot of people are saying like there's going to be an on-chain season, but I really think that a lot of things will pull back alongside Bitcoin because, again, I still hold to that same thesis of us going sub 60K on Bitcoin. So definitely something that I'm still watching out for, and we'll see what happens. There's some more stuff about Railgun. We kind of basically talked about it, but ZK privacy infrastructure for EVM networks. That's really all Railgun is. What I really like though is that stakers, they'll be able to get 2% of the treasury every year, or every 2 weeks, I should say. So that is actually pretty solid. Outside of that, I think that's all the alpha that we need to cover today. That's everything that's on my radar as of right now. But if you guys have anything that you want me to review, just let me know. Outside of that, though, one thing to go along with that recent comment that I made just a few moments ago, that we're looking at, that I'm looking for not that good of a summer. Right? I'm looking for a pullback on Bitcoin. We saw that KillXBT is also has some confluence with that. He said if we follow every previous Bitcoin cycle, the market tends to roll over after May. All right. So the question is, do we follow the historical patterns or do we break that pattern? And, that's the biggest question. I mean, history has sell in May and go away has been something that has happened for quite some time. It hasn't happened every single year, but I wonder if I pull up Bitcoin on the monthly, let's plot back every May of the last, let's call it, 6 years. All right, so let's do this. Let's open up the Bitcoin chart. Let's stretch this out. So obviously this is May 2026. Let's go to May 2025. Obviously that one did really well. Or I should say it wasn't a sell in May, go away type of situation. March here in 24, that was actually kind of tough. I don't know if you guys remember, but this price action here, ungodly, you know what I mean? Ungodly amounts of FUD and just stuff happening across the timeline. So not the best there. But that's what we're seeing with in 2024. I would say 2024, the sell in May, go away actually played out. I was here and it was just not fun. Let's see, 2023 in May, kind of the same thing. We had this sort of like meandering price action. And if you guys I was here in 2023, that also was very similar to 2024, and that literally over the summer, it was just such a lull. there was nothing happening. I don't know if you guys were here on ETH when people were trading like when hamster racing was the meta, but I knew the guy that started the hamster racing meta, and like literally it's the stupidest thing ever that we were trying to trade back then. But that's May 2023. So I would say sell in May and go away actually played out really well there. And obviously we have May 2022, which obviously that was the bear market. So of the last, let's call it, 1, 2, 3, 4 Mays of the last May, really 3 out of 4 of them played out. So, not really, I say that to say, sell in May and go away is an actual real thing. Let's see. Let's see May 2021. See May 2021 here. May 2021, sell in May and go away played out. Let's see, May 2020. Let's see. I actually have to like zoom into this, like May 2020. I wasn't here in May 2020. I came in and but I can only speak for what I know. So I would say of the last 5 Mays, not including 2026, 5 of the 6 Mays was sell in May and go away. And 2025 was really the biggest year. 2025 was like the biggest year for Bitcoin. I mean, 2024 at the end, like Q4, we had that huge AI season, right? So, but that was leading into 2025, and then 2025 on a whole was actually a pretty good year. At the beginning of 2025, we caught Fartcoin at the absolute stone cold bottom. We leverage traded that up. That was when I did 10K to like 100 and something K. 10K to 100 and something K in 10 days. I did that while I was on a cruise, actually, funny enough. Or at least a part of that I did while I was on a cruise. But yeah, so not bad there. Pretty good. Pretty good on-chain market environment. But 24, 23, 22, 21, all of those were trash Mays. So I say all of that to say I actually might be a believer here in sell in May and go away. So I'm just going to chill, I guess. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just chill on during the summer and just accumulate. All right. So guys, I do have a meeting that I am running a little bit late for, so I unfortunately have to cut stream here. But that's really all the stuff that we wanted to talk about today. We discussed quite a bit. We went through the interview with Claw Pump. That was an amazing interview. We had a lot of good information there. There was a lot of good alpha. We hunted across Base, Solana. We did some meme coins. We did a lot. So there's a lot going on chain. We covered some breaking news, some stuff happening with TCG and some ace round stuff. So yeah, like there's a lot of things that we went through. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream today. Again, if you love the stream today, more than likely you'll love the show on a regular basis. So definitely go to MCG Live at MCG Live on Twitter, and I'll pull up our Twitter right now. Again, we're live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll give you the lowdown for the markets, right? Just like you saw today, we do interviews for great builders. We highlight those building. I mean, look, I've been seeing a lot of people complain about Base and their lack of coverage of Base, their lack of coverage of the builders on Base, their lack of support for some of these builders. And I gotta say, man, I think MCG could do that too, could cover Base way better than Base can cover themselves. At least we've been doing it like that so far here. But yeah, you want to follow at MCG Live. We cover all this stuff on a regular basis. We cover trades, insights, market positioning, thesis on, whether it is a thesis on trades, on market structure, on market direction, We do the whole bit, man. So definitely give us a follow. And we'll have some things that we're working on in the background that we will announce soon enough. So if you want to, be privy to that info, if you want to be privy to that info, definitely give us a follow. But hey, guys, it's gonna be a long weekend. There's no stream on Monday. Next week we're back on Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So enjoy the long weekend, bros. And I guess not all of us are bros here, right? So not just the guys, but the ladies as well. But you're a bro. Even if you're a girl, you're still considered a bro to me, right? You're one of the homies. So all the homies, enjoy the long weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be a vibe. I'm gonna also kind of like take a little bit of a actually not going to take much of a break. I'm actually going to stay locked in over the weekend, but you guys definitely take a break. You guys have been here, and I have been actually gone for like the last like week or two. So I actually, want to continue to stay locked in here. But appreciate all you guys. Love all you guys. Thank you so much for your time and attention today to the stream. We'll see you guys next week. Much love, much peace, and wishing you guys a good weekend, a good long weekend. Take care. Deuces.